Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Eastern Lariat podcast, your show for news, notes, reviews, and opinions on the world of Japanese pro wrestling here on cagematch.net. I am your host, STRIGGA, and I am, of course, joined by Dylan. And Dylan, we are here, of course, to talk about the G1 Climax, but we also want to talk about some other stuff that happened actually not on the last weekend, but on the weekend before that. We meant to do a show last week, but it didn't really work out that way. I'm still on my vacations, obviously. I'm traveling from here to there. And sometimes our schedule just doesn't really match up. So we're here now to talk about some wrestling.
I miss being here, Strigga. I'm so glad that we're back again. I definitely want to do some more in the future. I can never get enough of the Eastern Lariat, whether it's you, the Eastern Lariat family, all the people out there. I feel like, we really are. We're in a dynamic duo zone. I feel like you're Mr. Fantastic. I'm Human Torch, right now.
Yes.
Listen,
you're always burning for the wrestling, yes.
That's right. That's how I'm feeling right now. And, I know, shout out to all my, people out there watching. This is a big superhero movie month right now with Fantastic Four and Superman on at the same time. I know if anybody saw that, I know they agree with me that Superman was a classic. No, but he's really the main guy. He doesn't really have a tag team partner in that movie string. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it's literally the name of the movie. Who do you think it was going to be about? If it wasn't Superman.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, we needed a partner. I mean, we don't have the Invisible Woman. We don't have the Thing. I don't know.
Thing. No.
Yeah.
We have the Grip, but that's not the same.
The Grip is not a part of the Eastern Lariat, but we will talk about him going forward. He is like the Thing, I would say, if we were going to put together a ProRes Fantastic Four team. But we really need somebody big and powerful and kind of ugly to be the Thing.
Huh.
So who could that be?
How about Hideki Shrek Sekine?
He could be our Thing, for sure.
He could be our Thing, yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Who would Mr. Fantastic be? He's kind of like the leader of the crew. He's the leader of the Fantastic Four.
Would it be Tanahashi?
He makes sense. He's kind of like the main character right now of wrestling, so it makes sense. We have Human Torch. He's kind of like the cool guy of the group, like the younger... he's got the cool power, but he's not a leader the way, somebody like Mr. Fantastic is. Who's the Human Torch of ProRes?
Who is someone that's always like... Do we just go by Japanese pro wrestling or pro wrestling in general?
This is the Japanese pro wrestling show.
The Japanese version of the Human Torch. Do you have anyone in your mind?
I mean, that's a good one. Who reminds me of the Human Torch? We need somebody with a good personality. Somebody with a little bit of rage to him. He's kind of a tough one. Who is that guy right now?
How about Keno?
That's who I was thinking, too. He was a little older than I had in mind, but I think he could make sense to me. He has the personality for it. And in Noah, he's kind of a youngster. So, why not on that end? Who's Invisible Woman, then?
Aiga from Sender Girls. She's invisible.
Well, I guess that's taking it a little literally, I would say, on there. But I guess if you go by it, that could work. Invisible Woman, she's kind of like the brains of the operation, like the calming influence. She keeps people on the right track on the team.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not Natsupoi. Like I said, we can refuse that.
It's definitely not Saya Kamitani either. She's not on the right track.
No, she is definitely a leader.
What about Mayu?
Mayu could be that. Like that would be good. I mean, I don't consider her, brain is chicken. Is
But
she the brains of the operation?
she always looks out for people to be on the right track.
She does. And I think that's fair. She might not be the brains, but maybe she is. I've always speculated on this. I've had many. Sandre Bjorn will verify this fact that I've always said that I thought her. What if she was actually like a scientist level genius deep down, but her attitude is like a gimmick? Is it a work? I think so. I think that she is an extremely smart person deep down. She's not showing it. It's better. Surprises are better than to be too obvious.
Yes.
So I'm with you. I think you've won me over, Strigga. So we've got Tanahashi, Mayu, Keno, and Hideki Shrek Sakine are the Fantastic Four.
That's one hell of a team.
That is the Fantastic Four, and you will only get it right here in Eastern Lariat, my friends.
Yes, and Dylan, actually, that's a great segue because one of the Fantastic Four that we have actually was in the main event of the first show that we are going to talk about here. So the weekend of the 19th and the 20th, it was when Pro Wrestling Noah ran a double shot in Hurricane Hall with actually 2 GHC heavyweight title matches, and twice they sold out the building with 1,596 and 1,592. Well, the other one was probably then the sellout, and the other one had 4 spare seats still open, so anyone could have gone in there. And what was really remarkable about these 2 shows is that they happened head-to-head with New Japan's opening days of the G1 Climax 35. And usually these 2 shows are the main topic of conversation amongst the Japanese wrestling audience and the online audience that watches Japanese pro wrestling. But this time around here, Pro Wrestling Noah stacked the deck so much that the conversation was swayed into their direction. And that was, of course, because of first Kano defeating Osawa on the first night of this double shot to become the GHC heavyweight champion yet again. Then being challenged by KENTA, who on the day thereafter defeated Kano for the GHC heavyweight title to hold this championship for the first time since 2011, I think it was, and for the second time now. I don't have the.
It's 2014.
2014. Okay, I don't have it in front of me right now. I just made up numbers.
I remember this directly when it happened. He beat Morishima on 2013. I think that was literally on my birthday in 2013.
Oh.
He beat Morishima.
That's now verified. There is a site we can use to verify that.
Yes, See when he won the title originally.
Yes,
KENTA.
the HC heavyweight title. It was on your birthday, in fact. Yes.
I remember it directly 12 years later, ladies and gentlemen.
2013. Crazy.
Yep, and he held it for a year. That was a fantastic title reign.
Yes.
By the way, so
343 days with matches against. Maibach Taniguchi was the first challenger to get over the hump.
Yeah.
Takashi Sugiura, Toru Yano, in a really good match actually. That has 1 rating, that is a 7. Then Kenta against Naomichi Marufuji, against Mohamed Yone, Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, Katsuka Nakajima, Yuji Nagata, and finally he lost it back to Takeshi Morishima.
Then Nagata won it a month after that. So I was really disappointed when he lost to Morishima, actually. At the time. I mean, Kenta at that time was my favorite. So, yeah, to see him win it after all these years was quite a sight. All of it. All of these shows, actually. I have to say, if you actually watch them as shows, the title matches are very good and then very great. Because I thought the Kenta match was better than the Ozawa match, personally.
I agree. Yes.
But the first one was still very good, though. That was Ozawa's best match by far as champion, in my opinion. I thought he really stepped up to the plate, and I was really not a fan of this title reign in ring. But besides that, the shows none of these matches
for the Osawa match, I was thinking that for the first time actually in this incarnation of Osawa's wrestling now, for the first time they made it work that the other wrestler in the match doesn't look like a complete idiot wrestling this Osawa character, but they implemented parts of Osawa's approach to what Keno was doing to completely unmask Osawa. So that was really well done.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, the whole match was really well done, honestly. It felt like a deserving end for the title reign. Doing it when they announced that, and then they said, "Oh, the next title match is one night later against Kenta." It really threw up some flags that okay, this is probably going to be another title change for them to do it this way. Which, again, to the point I was making earlier, before we get into that, outside of the main events, none of the matches on the show were that good. To be honest, I watched both shows. The first show you did have a junior title match on there too. It wasn't that great. Long story short of it, it was Yohei and Hayata. It is what it is.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, and the second night they had Hiromu's deal in the tag match, and it was not that great.
I want to say though that it's really unfortunate for Yohei now because he was supposed to wrestle Hiromu Takahashi, obviously, and the match against Hayata wasn't the best, but we've said it before that his current run is probably the best that he has had in his career. And while being on this run now, he was injured and can't wrestle the match against Hiromu Takahashi now, which is probably something that he was really looking forward to. And now there is this indie wrestler from Osaka, Yuto Kikuchi, who has been wrestling with Pro Wrestling Noah for quite some time, who now stepped in to wrestle Hiromu Takahashi on August 11. And that's one of the... I said it on Twitter. If you had made the prediction that Yuto Kikuchi would wrestle Hiromu Takahashi at the beginning of the year, that would be one hell of a prediction.
It would have been, but hey, things happen. Things change on a dime sometimes in wrestling. But my point I was going to make was the title matches was both great. Everything else on the show wasn't that good. But stuff was happening up and down this company. Coming out of this show, you had 2 title changes.
Mm-hmm.
You had Hiromu coming in. And that's setting up his, what looks like he could be the next champion. Now it's a big deal to have Hiromu come over, maybe for a little while now. You had Daiki Odashima get his first ever win.
That was such a great opener.
Yeah, and it was such a great moment for him to get his... Man, he's just the best. Odashima, this guy is one of the best workers in the whole company to me. And one of the ones I enjoy watching the most, personally. So you had that on the show. You had Go returning, after a long time's absent. You had the announcement and all of it, ending up leading to... We're going to get some N1 stuff coming forward with him versus Haratoki to see who gets into the tournament. And on top of it, all of this leads to Kenta versus Marufuji in a match that basically sold out Korakuen right away. It's already sold out weeks before it's going to happen. So it's you have all of this stuff that they set up on these 2 shows. And I thought this was the most exciting Noah's been. And in so long. I thought this was their best, most positive growth that I've seen in years and years out of this company. And it felt like how, especially in the Kenta match, I like the Keno and Ozawa match. It was the best of Ozawa's range, and that's cool. But this was what, to me, Noah is supposed to be. Kenta versus Keno. This is the kind of match they're supposed to have that you can't really see in a lot of other companies. Where it was just, they leaned so hard into the Noah hard-hitting style.
That was so great.
And obviously both of these 2 guys were great at it. And we know Kenta was one of the best ever at it. I was really happy to know that you liked this because I know that I've warmed up to Kenta more than you have on this Noah run. And it felt like he finally won you over with this one.
Yeah, he completely did. I love this match tremendously. I have not given it a rating on Cage Match, but if I was doing that, I probably gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It it just like you said, it really was a match that restored the feeling that Pro Wrestling Noah is able to have these kind of heavyweight matches and carve out their own niche with a heavyweight style that you just don't find right now in Japan anymore. When you look over to All Japan Pro Wrestling, you have the Saito brothers dominance there. And when you look over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, they really struggle to find what is their unique brand of heavyweight wrestling. They always go back to calling strong style is basically everything, but there is really not that unique style that you can point to right now in the company. We'll get to that in a bit here.
Right.
With KENTA and Kano, you really felt like that this is the core that Pro Wrestling Noah not only was built on, but also when you remember back, Dylan, when we talked about Noah's heavyweight style around 3 or 4 years ago, when Nakajima was still with the company and was having his run on top, we always said that Pro Wrestling Noah had this different heavyweight style where it is a little bit more slow paced, but it is very intense and it is very to the point, and it always is very captivating. And I felt like that everything that happened in this very match was exactly that what we talked about years ago.
Oh, I totally agree with everything you said right there. And we did have those discussions, back then. Yeah. We talked about that during Go's reign as well.
Oh yeah,
which was very well received. But there was a lot of those matches as well that were of that ilk. But I always thought that the Noah style was better suited for that. I've critiqued the New Japan version of this with Okada many, many times. The first 20, 25 minutes, nothing really happens. And then they turn it up the last 5 minutes and everyone says it's great. Whereas Noah's matches, I thought, built a lot better, even if they, maybe were a little bit slower, as you said. So I thought this match really captured the feeling of that, great. With Go coming back, I definitely thought of that as well. It's like, okay, it feels like they have realized this. And I have to say, to be honest with you, Strig, I thought KENTA should have beat Ozawa the first time in May for the belt.
Yeah.
And I was really confused when that happened. But the way they did it with this Keno kind of bridge run into KENTA, I thought was actually really smart. We have to give it up to Noah.
There was a lot of criticism for that online, especially because Keno was given this 1-day run. But I immediately was of the understanding that this is business-wise a very good decision, because you will have another KENTA and Osawa match in your back pocket for later in the year or early next year, when you can build Osawa back up to being a contender for KENTA, and you will have another big house for that.
And you've got Keno and Ozawa, who Ozawa's never beaten.
Right.
And I think you needed that for him, because him specifically, and really the whole stable, has been booked really strong, but especially him. And
that,
I think
of course, could be a big program for the N1.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think it's a good thing. Again, you've heard me a bunch of times if you're a long-time listener. I am a fan of strong champions. I want the champion to mean something. I'm not a fan of goofy bullcrap champions, and he kind of was, but also they had him win against everybody. So he really needed somebody that could be kind of his kryptonite. Sorry for the Superman reference again here, but they needed somebody that he can't beat. And I think Keno as that role is very good, because that's kind of what he is. He's the gatekeeper player of Noah. They clearly don't see him as the guy, but he's always hanging around the main events. And he's like a great utility player. You could put him in the main event. You could put him in a tag team run with Oka. You could have him do YouTube videos. He works in every role, pretty much, even as a bridge champion. So I think we're kind of beyond, at least for me. I know the fans will always be there and like their favorites, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But for me as an analyst, I'm kind of beyond Keno as getting a long run or anything like that. I don't think they believe in him that way, or they've had 4 chances to do that now, and he ain't got away with it every time. And I don't think they needed it. I think Kenta getting the belt is a better option than Keno and much more exciting, in my opinion. So I actually think they set things up where you've got multiple storyline paths coming out of this. You've got great matches. And when Kenta won this belt, I don't know about you, but it just felt good. And that's something...
Yes. No, it was a complete feel-good moment, and it is the right direction for the company now, because once again, like with Osawa for the first half of the year, you now have mostly fresh title matches, except for the one with Marufuji, of course, that you can go to with Kenta. And you would think about where others in the company would fill in with Kenta as champion. For example, like we tossed around the idea of Ulka Sasaki being in line to be the next champion, but now, of course, we have Kenta. But the question now remains, of course, where does that leave Ulka Sasaki and his rise to the main event levels? Will he eventually face Kenta in this run? That could be very interesting.
And I mean, they've already set the seeds for that with them breaking up, because they were in the faction together.
Mm-hmm.
Kenta, Keno, and Ulka were all together, and that's done now. Like, Kenta pretty much broke that up. And so I think that that's for sure going to happen. If it's not the end game of this title run, it doesn't have to be, but again, it's not just what they did in these two shows wasn't just a good business move, but it was also legitimately good a narrative move, like storytelling wise. It was very logical. It was cool, fresh, exciting. It made sense. So I really do think that will happen from a logic standpoint. He should be, if not the end game, a major defense in this Kenta run. But I was going to say, the point I was going to make it just feels good that he was the champion. And at this point in wrestling, there's not a lot of that. If you think about the landscape of Japanese wrestling right now, you had Goto drop the title to Zack in a heartbreaking moment. You've got, like, Anzai disappearing, supposedly the hero of all Japan. He's just gone out of everywhere. We didn't talk about this, but quickly, what did you think of the Kobe world where they turned on Shu?
I mean, it was coming. I knew it was coming because on the day before the show, actually, I listened to the preview that Open the Voice Gate did with Jay, and when he mentioned that Shun Skywalker had used the move Ashla for the first time ever since turning heel, and brought it back to the origins of the Star Wars lore, that Ashla is this character that embodies the good side of the power. It was clear that that turn was coming. In the end, I thought it was done weirdly, because it was only Kikuta who attacked Shun Skywalker, and all the other Zebrats members basically stood there and just looked at the scenery that unfolded upon them, and it was only Homare who made the save for Shun Skywalker. So I somewhat liked it, but the idea of only one Zebrats member having an issue with Shun Skywalker after all that he has done, basically, he all has manipulated these guys to change the core of their characters, that came away strangely to me.
Yes, the Ashla.
It should have been, it should have been more of a situation where, like the killing of Julius Caesar, where everybody has a knife in their hands and hunts him down and kills him. Instead, it was just one guy.
Yeah, I like that idea. I wish they had done an angle like that, because I don't think we've ever seen something like that happen, where it's like 10 different guys have reasons to turn on someone, but we just don't know who did it.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be a great idea.
He all turned these guys to the dark side. He all took away their flashy side and their will to live. Look at Kota Minura.
No, he's just always like that, Strigga. That's Minoru we're talking about. That's also known as DG Endo, as I call him, on Dreading Dragons. The Ashla Bogan, light of the dark side of the Force. Star Wars lore, and that's a pretty deep cut. Shoot, out there.
It was a really deep cut. Yeah.
But they're ancient names for the light and dark side of the Force. The thing about that is, the match was very good. I didn't love it the way some people did, because I saw it, like, even on Cage Match, this is like the highest Dragon Gate match that I've seen in forever. It feels like, to me, when I'm comparing it to other Kobe World main events, I don't think this was as good as last year's main event. Like, that's a direct comparison with Ben-K and Yamato, just as a match.
I agree with that, and I was thinking that some fans that watched it right away and rated it so highly, I didn't really see it, actually. It was just very, like, it was good. But to me, I mean, we have it rated at 8.86 on Cage Match, and that's a rating that I could never come up with because I don't see that inside the match. For the most part of the match, it was what you just talked about, the Okada situation. It was a lot
I thought
of
so too.
Stuff happening for the first 15 to 20 minutes until they went to the finishing stretch.
Yeah. And I first of all, that's a great comparison. I believe I did something about that in our Dream Dragons review, about how the first part of the match was really boring, more or less. When it got good, it got great, and that's true, but I don't think that makes a truly great match. Like, last year's match was a great, great match, like, all throughout. And the Cage match was more impactful the year before, I would say, too. And the way they muddied the water, I wasn't a big fan of the lead-in, with Shun threatening to leave if he lost. I thought that really... Like, they had this amazing story with him and Yamato from 3 years prior. Basically, all of this started when Yamato beat Shun for the title. Like, everything that happened with Z-Brats, you could trace back to that. And they didn't really do that. They didn't even hype that it was the 20-year anniversary of the Kobe World.
No,
Yeah, so I was really confused about all of that. I thought the better match on the show was Kakuda's match. Was the best match on the show, actually. With a Strong Machine J, where they just whipped ass. Pretty much like
they ripped ass, yes. I actually liked the Twin Gate title match more than the main event, and also the Triangle Gate title match.
Yeah, the Triangle Mate was interesting. Both of those matches were good. I thought had some flaws to them. I was shocked about the Twin Gate that they retained. That was a genuine surprise. But I'm not against it per se, but it was a surprise.
I mean, it makes sense if Homare stays at Shun Skywalker's side.
Yeah, totally.
Because
totally
they still have the title match from the Rey de Parejas.
Yes, I hope that they actually fulfill that stipulation. But yeah, so at the end of the show, though, because it's something that we've been talking about, like DG fans, look at the end of Dead or Alive, and look at the end of almost all of their shows, where Shun and Z-Brats are standing tall and like bragging about their latest conquest. And we got that. It was like they doubled down on it at Kobe World, where not only did Shun win and they had the heel win again, then you had a heel turn on the heel, and then they stood tall. So it's like, no matter what happens, like, there's no heroic figure right now in Japanese wrestling, where it's like, I just want to have a happy fucking ending sometimes. Is it that hard to do? And like, it seems like nobody wants to do that these days.
And you know why that is? You know why that is? It is because everybody looks at New Japan Pro Wrestling and what they do. I mean, you just have to look at every single company, and you can point out that every single company at one point tried or is trying to have their version of the House of Torture. And every single company is looking at what New Japan Pro Wrestling does in their booking, and they will see that New Japan Pro Wrestling always has their situations where you have a babyface eventually win, but you know that you always have to have the fear that it is immediately taken away by some dirty, cheating heel that comes up and takes it away, that what the babyface has been working for. That's been happening a lot in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
And their most successful thing was what I said, was Goto's heroic, like, feel-good title win. And then they cut that off early on a non-televised show, like, to a foreigner that could not draw a moth to a flame right now. So, like, why can't we just have now Noah comes in with this Kenta thing, and finally it feels like somebody was like, okay, enough of this. We've had our heel, like you said, like their Bullet Club leader is like that's basically Team 2000 is their version of the Bullet Club or Zebrats or whatever. Like he's dominated the company, he's beat everybody. We're gonna like work some stuff around and give us our heroic, legendary figure of Noah, the guy who was here during the great times, the golden age of the company, and he was one of the best parts of it. Now he's back. Like he wasted 10 years of his career in WWE and New Japan, and now he's actually wrestled good for us. He wants to try again, and he comes in, he gets the win, and it just feels good. Like that's something I think more companies need to try to focus on a little bit better in the future going forward. Just give us a happy, like, ending a good champion. And I think it's something right now with the state of the world as a whole. Like, we need feel-good, heroic figures to rally behind. Like, we don't need more Bullet Club crap that we've seen a zillion times. We need great wrestlers and great champions that the fans want to love. And I mean, Ozawa was kind of that, even though he was the leader of Bullet Club, he was kind of like the radical, fan-friendly guy as well. But now we've got the real fan-friendly guy here as the champion.
kind of the face of a changing of the guard was Ozawa portrayed as. What did you think ultimately of his title run? So he did have defenses against Galeno, Manabu Soya, Masaki Tamiya, Kenta, Kaito Kiyuma, and Sugiura and Endo in a three-way match. That was the final one. That was the successful title defense, and then of course the one against Keno that ended in the referee stop. First, before you go into the title run, the referee stop, that was discussed too online. I
thought it was a great decision personally.
Me
I
too.
liked it.
Me too. And I have no. I don't think that this was a mistake because it looked like the finish they were going for, because in this very instance, like I said, Keno just found the missing piece that was missing for someone to actually beat Osawa's ass, and he did.
Yeah, exactly. It was the perfect end to his title reign because it made Keno look badass. It was a great comeuppance for Ozawa, and it gives him a hook going forward. He didn't lose in terms of tap out or get pinned. The ref stopped it. He didn't necessarily stop it. So as a heel logic, that gives you something to hang on to. That gives you openings for greater stories going forward. It increases the heat between Keno and Ozawa, and it set up Kenta's title win a day later. So everything about it worked to me. Like I said, everything about this was really clever. And how many times have we looked at Noah? Me and you have both come on here, and you bring something up, and I say something, and we both get mad because we think it's so stupid. Why would Nosawa or Kendo or whoever's behind this do this dumbass bullcrap and put it on the air for us to watch? But this time they actually did something not just that was like, okay, it worked out. Because some stuff can be good and it's not necessarily clever or smart. Maybe the worker makes it work. Here, this was actually intricately booked and very well done. So, like, we have to give them credit for it in this instance. And as I said, both of the shows set up so many paths and so many things that I mentioned earlier going forward that now the company, like, they had their guy that really led to them to being where they are now. Like, the title reign as a whole, to kind of answer your question from before, I personally didn't like it at all. But there's no question it was super successful and what they needed. He, as a character, came through at exactly the right time. And to be honest, Strig, there had to be a little trepidation. At least if I was the one running the show, I would be hesitant to take the title off of Ozawa.
I was kind of surprised, actually, that this happened on this show.
So our last episode, the half-year awards, I was talking to our mutual friend Peps about this, and he brought up how he was like, man, Dylan, what's it going to take for you to vote Ozawa as the MVP? And I was like, well, he has to wrestle good matches, which he did do in this one. But he was basically saying, like, oh, I think he'll have a chance because he'll hold the title through the rest of the year at least. And then like a week later, he drops the belt. And that's how me, you, him, and probably everybody else were thinking. That, hey, Ozawa's probably keeping this belt for the rest of the year until January 1st. But instead, they pulled this swerve out, and it was expertly done against a guy. Well, not against him. They did it in a way, again, where it protected everybody. Ozawa has a totally legit claim to the top. The ref stopped the match, and he beat Kenta before. Keno beat Ozawa, and Kenta beat Keno. So it's like you've built 3 legitimate main eventers here, and hopefully they can use the N1 to set up somebody that can also be a good challenger as well. Because I don't think either Keno or Ozawa will win the tournament. I think it will be somebody else.
Yeah, looking at Ulka.
That's who I think too. And I think he's the perfect challenger to test Kenta. And you might not even... Yeah.
I think Osawa will get far in the tournament. I could see, if they're not in the same block, I could see an Osawa and Ulka finish.
Yeah, that would be perfect, I think.
Final. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pro Wrestling Noah has done well here. As like I said at the beginning, they were a major part of the conversation online on this weekend where the G1 Climax started. So and that's good on him.
I'm excited about this stuff, man. I think it was so good that I want to see where this goes. Overall. We're going to talk about some stuff in a second where it just feels like a slog to get through, and it just feels like nobody's going anywhere. Like here in Noah, like they've actually pulled some stuff off that I want to see personally as a fan. Never mind us doing it for this show. I'm actually legit interested in this, and I think they deserve a tip of the cap. And on top of it, as I said, we all thought he would keep it throughout the year, and if I were running it, I would be hesitant because before he came around, they were struggling, and we all know that, and they have been for a long time. So they could have been hesitant and said, look, man, we can't take the belt off our golden goose here. Like, he's got to stay until we absolutely run out of gas on this. Instead, they put on a guy that you used in a way. By utilizing Kenta to face Marufuji, there is no drop-off. Like, they sold out right away. They did exactly what Ozawa's been doing, even faster. And maybe he could even take this belt to new heights to where, hopefully, maybe in 2026 sometime, if this momentum they've built up with Ozawa, and now they're getting things back to the heart of Noah that we all know and love, maybe they can run some bigger buildings and get back to that and be successful at them. Because they were running bigger buildings last year, but they weren't doing anything with them. At the end of the day.
Also, now that you brought up Peps and his conversation with you, that was also one of the points that I was also making when discussing that with somebody on Twitter. It is, of course, Osawa was hugely successful in his title run, but most of the times it was Kurikan. It's Kurikan Hall level main events.
Yeah.
And when you look at Hiroki Goto and Saya Kamitani, their level is much higher. I mean, they had the Sumo Hall show with Osawa and Kenta, which did over 4,000 for Pro Wrestling Noah, which is good. But all other title defenses, if I'm not mistaken, took place in Kurikan. To mostly a sold-out audience, but it's just not on the level of the other two.
Exactly. That's why we both agreed that Goto, especially with recent events since he's lost the title, I think Goto may have been even underrated as champion in hindsight.
Yes.
I think we made the right call, and the listeners made the right call on that one. Although I do agree, Kamitani got a raw deal. She should have been number 2. But but no, it's a great point. That's the thing. I know. Big shout out to Peps. He's reviewing every New Japan show in the G1 on his YouTube channel, so give him some love there. Shout out to the Emerald Flow show as well. They did a study where they were talking about how Noah's attendance actually isn't as positive as we've all been about that. I haven't loved the actual product, but the attendance has always been something we talked about. Mm-hmm. They're really not that much different than last year in terms of total number of fans. The problem is that they were running much bigger buildings and bombing in them. And this year they're running in buildings they can fill, which is like Korakuen.
It makes you feel better about the company, even though the attendances are not much different.
Yep.
it provides a better feeling overall and makes the product look better. And that's something that we saw in the first Ottawa show for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It looked dire.
Oh yeah, that was rough. Like there was a lot to get to with that.
Yes. Before we go to New Japan Pro Wrestling, I want to quickly get to All Japan Pro Wrestling as well, because they also have a tournament going on. And when we compare the quality of the tournament, this one is the superior tournament of the two, I would say, quality-wise, because we have the Zennichi Junior Festival going on with 10 wrestlers, and the group stages have just come to an end this past weekend with a show in Shinkiba First Ring. Of course, this is a much smaller scale than the G1 Climax, but comparing in-ring to the G1 matches, I was really hooked to a lot of these matches. So the final group standings are in Block A. Rising Hayato came through as the winner with 6 points. Hikaru Sato ended up having 4. Seigo Tachibana, Seki Yoshioka, and Ryo Inoue, all 3 at 2 points, which is significant because Yoshioka is the junior champion right now. So he will have some tall tasks in front of him in the next coming weeks and months, possibly. And in Block B, we have Atsuki Aoyagi winning with 6, Naruki Doi has 4, Dentamura Musashi and Fuminori Abe all 2 points. Once again, here the former junior champion dropped off with 2 points. So the two obvious guys made it through with Rising Hayato and Atsuki Aoyagi. And if we're looking at the card for Ota City General Gymnasium on the 3rd of August, I'm thinking that this final is going to headline this show, Atsuki Aoyagi versus Rising Hayato, over the All Japan World Tag Team title match. Kento Miyahara and Yuma Aoyagi defending against Hideki Suzuki and Kengo Mashimo. Overall,
that match sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's still a weird build-up to the title match that Yuma Aoyagi has 1 week after that.
Yes, I think I do think Hideki and Kengo are going to win that match. By the way.
I mean, of course, yeah, because Yuma Aoyagi is winning the Triple Crown, and nobody can hold the Triple Crown and the World Tag Team title at the same time. That's an unspoken rule in All Japan Pro Wrestling, and if it happens, it is only a short overlap usually.
Yes, exactly. So, and I just want to see Kengo Mashimo with a belt, and Hideki as well.
With two belts.
Yes.
2 new shiny belts, Dylan. They presented at the first tour stop of this summer action series, where, of course, they made a story about the old belts falling apart, which is the reason that they already, I think it's been over 10 years that they introduced the new Triple Crown, right?
Yeah.
Must have been around 2014 or so. They introduced the new belt, and now they also remade the old World Tag Team title that is composed of 2 belts because the plates were falling off. And now these shiny belts, they look really, really good. They have new belts all over now. The junior belt was remade a couple of years ago. The All Asia belts were remade in the image of the old ones, but they look shiny as well. So the company has really good looking belts right now. So this all started. Sorry.
I got a comment that said that the belts were too small. Do you agree?
I don't.
The tag titles.
I don't, because classical belts used to be very small.
Yes, I agree.
It's a callback to the classic belts.
Exactly. So I like them as well. It was so great because the other ones were just that was not a storyline. That was real. Like them falling apart.
Yes, but they presented it as part of that. You know?
Yeah, like it was very real, and they needed new belts. So I'm glad that they got them, and they look great on Yuma and Kento. Even though I'm kind of rooting against them for this next match, but they look great, and it was a great call, and I think it's good. Like I said, we talked about it before. This company has kind of spiraled out of control, like before this tournament started, into this comedic tone that they've had, and I think even they recognize that, like, okay, it's been a little much.
They significantly toned back on that during this tour.
Yeah, and it started with Suwama's promo where he directly addressed this, and then we got to this tournament, which was like,
once again, like you made your point, it was not a promo. It was a shoot.
Yeah, so he was telling the truth at the end of the day. But then we just get to this tournament, which is pure wrestling, pretty much. Like, they want to make the belt look strong again. They do this tournament, which is really cool. I mean, when these All Japan Junior tournaments are always like they always feel like undercard fodder. Remember that year they had the tournament? It was like 6 guys in it, or something like.
And it was during the Champion Carnival. It was on the undercard of the Champion Carnival.
Yeah, it was rough. And, they've done the tag league a few times, but it's been a few years since we saw the junior version, like the singles tournament, the Battle of Glory. So I was happy that they brought it back, and they did a great job with it. And the thing is, it's not like it was this overbearing field of wrestlers, but everyone they brought in, A, is good, and B, has purpose in the tournament.
Exactly. Yes.
So that was really good.
This is like much like the point that I made about the 5-star Grand Prix last time. They have 5 guys in each block, and you can look at each block down the line, and you could say that at least 3 of the guys in the block could realistically make it to the finals, and that's a good tournament.
Well, I know you ain't talking about the 5-star, because there's 32 people in that tournament.
I know.
That tournament.
We talked about it last time when we had our discussions that a block with 5 would be good.
Yeah.
If you have a 4-block system.
And yes, absolutely.
And I would go out and make the point that this is the best that the All Japan Junior division has looked like in over 10 years.
Possibly ever. Yeah.
What was you make the call that it was? Yeah.
What was your idea? Like, what would you say is the best?
Kazayashi had this great run before Wrestle 1 opened.
That was good.
But
the division
Kazayashi run was really, really good. No, the division wasn't good.
Yeah,
there was for a brief time the influx when Koji Iwamoto came in, and he had great matches, but it was always on the mid and undercards. And you might be right that you could make the claim that it is the best ever.
Well, to be honest with you, it's automatically
and it's not only the in-ring.
Yeah.
But when you, for example, I'm just taking. Let me take this one show here from the 20th. So from the 20th and the 24th, they both have the heavyweights in the opener in a 10-man tag match in both instances. And in the one instance, I think it's an 8-man tag. And in the opening match on the 20th in Toyama, the match ends with a brainbuster from Jun Saito against Shota Kofuji. And on the 24th, the opener ends with a sleeper hold from Hideki Zuki against Yuma Aoyagi. On the 26th, they once again have a 6-man tag with the heavyweights in the opener. And it ends with a blackout from Miyahara against Suzuki. It's always secondary finishes that we see here. Mm-hmm. And with the heavyweights being relegated to the openers and to the second match on the show, the idea of a match ending also gets relegated to the secondary position, which makes the juniors stand out even more. And when you have main events like, for example, Musashi versus Naruki Doi, or on the opening day with with Rising Hayato. Exactly, yeah. Rising Hayato against Seki Yoshioka.
Yeah.
They made sure to position these guys in matches that you would otherwise only see from the heavyweights in All Japan Pro Wrestling, with big bombs, big kickouts, and dramatic finishes. And that's what made the juniors stand out in this tournament so much.
I completely agree. I think the tournament was a smashing success. It made the division look great. All 8 performers added something to the tournament, and it made it feel like, okay, this
10.
is a.
Who are you missing out?
Are
you leaving out Seigo? I'm
definitely not leaving Seigo at all. Like, Seigo is. So I refuse to leave Seigo Tachibana out. I was just thinking that, like, what was your favorite match of the tournament?
My favorite, wait a second. I rated all the matches.
All right, let me tell you mine, and while you looked it up.
My favorite match I have it, but you go.
My favorite was Ryo Inoue's versus Rising Hayato. Well, it was my favorite, where Inoue got his one win of the block. It felt meaningful. I thought the opening main event that we talked about with Hayato and Seiki was great. And that got the most hype, I think, online because everybody was talking about that one.
I think that was my second favorite.
Yeah, that would probably be my second favorite too. But Inoue and Hayato was the one that I thought was the best one. I thought they worked it in a way that was so smart with a clear underdog favorite dynamic that played out in the match. And Hayato really impressed me with how he worked that, because usually he's got obviously he's got a lot of presence and charisma and stuff like that. But his latest run, for most of the year, has been teaming with Anzai, where he's more like the Ricky Morton of the team, kind of.
Yeah,
he's the one that
he's a sidekick. Yeah,
yeah, and he's like the underdog guy. Here, he had to wrestle as the favorite, and I thought he did a great job. He felt okay, this guy can because we've talked about it before the year. You said that he could have made the finals of the carnival, Yep. But when you watch him wrestle like this, he felt hey, this is a main event presence level guy. The size is always going to work against him, but in terms of everything else, it's this guy's got a unique gimmick, got great charisma. The look is awesome. Everything about him, when he comes out, just sits in the ring, he's awesome. I thought he did a fantastic job. And I thought Inoue has been one of my guys forever. And I think that he really showed, hey, he does deserve to get a push very soon.
And it's great that you brought up, Rising Hayato, because my favorite match of the tournament has been Atsuki Aoyagi versus Fuminori Abe from the 24th. In a match where I thought it was so brilliantly done that Abe targeted Atsuki's knee that he had the ACL injury with, right? Always with sliding drop kicks, figure fours, various submission attempts. Aoyagi had to overcome these situations, much like he had to overcome Naoki Doi on the opening night. And even after the match ended and he had won against Abe, he was limping and was going out very slowly from the ring with his limping knee. I thought that this high-speed wrestling was really, really well done. And that's been kind of the situation that we've had with both guys in the two blocks, with Rising Hayato and Atsuki Aoyagi. Rising Hayato also had to overcome some situations, for example, with the Ryo Inoue loss that you just mentioned. But for Aoyagi, it has been that he has been the underdog the entire time. And that also translated to the final show, where it was Atsuki Aoyagi against Dentamura in the main event, which was a match that I didn't particularly like that much, because it was, in my opinion, too long and too much of Dentamura being in offense, with, in the end, Atsuki Aoyagi winning the match. And on the other hand, we had Rising Hayato and Seiko Tachibana being on par levels and just throwing bombs at one another. So now we have Rising Hayato as the guy that leads the block and leads the field right now against the underdog of Atsuki Aoyagi. And that should make for a great final.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. So I think they've done, again, the booking's been great. The wrestling's been very strong. And it's just exciting to see these guys. It feels like everybody added in their own way. So I think that's very good. And when you have a smaller tournament with just some say 8, some say 10. But in reality, it was 10. He was right. To have that small of a group, it means everybody contributes. So I think there's really no criticism of it, to be honest with you, Strig. I think it's been really fun to watch, and a big upgrade from where we were at the half-year point. This tournament's really, again, it's turned things around. I don't know how I'm going to feel. It depends on which side of Yuma we're going to get in the Triple Crown match.
So we're both of the understanding that he's winning the Triple Crown, right?
I'm not as confident as you are, but if I had to make a prediction, I would say Yuma's probably going to beat June here.
Yeah, and much like Jonathan, shout out to you, Jonathan, said, he's once again going to lose it on the Hokkaido stretch.
Yeah, so he's destined to have a 2-month title reign against him too early. Let me throw this at you, Striga, since you brought it up. The juniors in All Japan. I'm about to run down the eras from you, and I've got a game to play. for you. I've done this like totally on the fly that you brought it up. So the first era, the first 30 years don't matter. Like the juniors were never important that much.
Mm-hmm.
They had some good matches with Kikuchi and Ogawa, but they were never ever important. I promise.
Yeah.
Then we get to what I call the big kendo era, which they had like scrambled for the junior belt forever, like when the company split to Noah. When Muto came in, he brought Kojima, and people forget that Kashin was the third guy that he brought from New Japan to All Japan. So he was the junior ace for a while before he had a falling out and went back to New Japan. Then we go to what I call, and nothing of note happened in Kendo's era. The junior belt still was nothing at the end of the day. We get to what I call the Team 246 era. You mentioned Hayashi and also Shuji Kondo. Like they held the belt probably combined 1,000 days. Like from 2004 to 2007 or whatever. And it was great.
Both of them. Kondo had this one weird reign in 2018 for 68 days.
That did happen as well. I remember the original one so much more than the other one. And even the thing is, the Kondo run wasn't that great because it was the Voodoo Murder era. But that led to an era. You had some people bouncing it around. You had like young Nakajima had a reign. The only thing I remember about that reign was a fantastic Chris Sabin match that they had. But really, it wasn't that important. Things stepped up when Marufuji won the title. Even though it like on Cage Match it's listed as 131 days, Marufuji was a main eventer. And they had a legendary match between him and Kenta. Like 60-minute draw, junior versus junior.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So like that was like one of their best matches. That really set the stage for the reign. I believe you were referencing Kazahashi's big reign in 09.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Funnily enough, and I'm looking at this.
It also included the Keiji Muto.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yes, because Muto wanted to prevent Kazayashi from breaking the record.
Yeah, and I remember when that happened live. This was right when I first started watching like Japanese wrestling, and I remember thinking like, dude, what? Like Muta's a junior? That doesn't make any sense.
They made sure back then to also play vignettes where he was training to make the weight. That was funny. Yeah,
I mean it was a bad look, and like look at this reign here. I'm about to throw these names at you, Strig.
Yes.
Like I said. So he beat Marufuji to win. Right? That was very good. Very good match. He faced Minoru Tanaka early on.
Twice actually in the reign. I think.
So you're looking at it. That makes the game less fun. Like that, pretty much. But anyway, like look at this is a murderer's row of people. You had Toshizo like heel Hijikata, Mazada, Shuji Kondo, again Voodoo Murder's crap going on. Super crazy. Hate. Masanobu Fuji. Like old, like even in 09, he was very old. Or 2010, Fuji was still very old. Yamato, not Yamato for Dragon Gate. Hiroshi Yamato, yeah. Who I was a big fan of at the time, actually. Junior Kai.
That was a great match, actually. I gave that 8 points.
Kazahashi and Kai.
Yep.
Yeah, that match ruled. Kai was a really good junior, actually. I don't know how known that is. You have Bushi in there, like, and I was a big fan of Bushi. Yeah, All Japan Bushi, I was a big fan of actually. Nosawa, Minoru Fujita, Taka Michinoku, Jimmy Wang Yang, old ancient Kikuchi.
Old Kikuchi. That was part of the story. Because, of course, Masanobu Fuji was holding the record for the title defenses, and all the guys came out to challenge Hayashi. Kikuchi was one of them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't remember that match at all, but I'm sure it was bad. With all due respect. Phil Atlas on there.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, and then Minoru Tanaka again to win the belt. So it was a long reign, but that is a garbage list of opponents that I just read out to you. They moved on to where
it was successful though. They mostly had semi-main or main event level matches.
And that's deserving, deservingly so. And they did work to do that. We moved on to the Shiraishi era, which was like mainly drawn by Omega's title reign, which a lot of people will like, big up a little bit. And it was good. Like, don't get me wrong, it was I have to say, they did a lot of good stuff there. Then we had kind of the burning era where it was Aoki and Kotaro Suzuki. Rest in peace, that's Aoki, of course. But they kind of ran the company from the junior sense then.
Mm-hmm.
It was not like, it was mid-tier. Like, it wasn't as bad as it used to be, but it wasn't a main event level in any way. Then we get to the current era, like you said, where they were trying to build up Iwamoto. They kind of floundered around with that a little bit. I mean, he was a good worker, but they, like, a lot of his reigns, it was always stop and start, kind of.
Yeah.
We complained about that at the time. Like, go back to 2018 or whatever.
If you go to the page on Cage Match with the junior title reigns, and you go to 2022 and go down the list, you see lots of reigns that are less than 60 days.
Yeah, and then things really got out of control during the pandemic, pretty much, where it was like, it felt like every time it would be like, somebody would win the belt, and then an outsider would come in and win the belt. And it was like never ending, pretty much. Where, somehow Sato would be in there in the title defense. Like, every person would face Sato, and it just was kind of stale. And now they're finally building something organic. And I mean, they kind of continued that run to Doi. Because, like, they kind of continued that formula to where it would be like a foreigner not a foreigner, but an outsider would come in and win it at any given notice.
Lindaman was there too,
Oh, I don't remember that reign at all, my friend. I have to tell you.
It happened. I can tell you it happened.
Yeah, I mean, this was like post good Lindemann. Like, this was like 2023.
This one is a nice trivia game down the line for Japanese Pro Wrestling pub quiz. For the All Japan Junior Heavyweight title on November 5, 2023, Dylan, 2 non-All Japan wrestlers competed in that match. Who were they?
Oh, that was Gresham.
Yeah, Gresham.
I remember that because he wasn't even there that long. Didn't he wrestle like 2 matches?
This was one tour. One tour.
Yeah. Did he even wrestle the whole tour? I felt it was like what 2?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay.
No, it was one tour.
Okay. I do not mean to disrespect the octopus. Right now, he did have a full tour, but I remember when that happened. Everybody like was about that. That match was actually good though. Like, now that I think about it, like that was a good match. That was probably Lindemann's best match as a champion. But the point is, it feels like they're finally building back to something organic. Like, and they're building to this new era, which we've teased with Aoyagi and Rising Hayato a little bit. But now you've got Musashi. You've got Yoshioka. Seigo's got more respect now. They've got all of these guys. Inoue's on the way up. So you've got a full division now rather than just, okay, we've got these 2 guys, which, hey, both of them are great looks. They're very popular with women fans. They're great workers. Like, of course we want to build a division around these guys. But now you've got a whole division of people, and it feels like the junior era is better now as a whole than it has been in any of those other eras in the past.
And they don't have to lean onto the one story that they had throughout the 2010s, that an outsider came in to take the title away, and the All Japan guy wins it back eventually. That's a story that they ran to the ground, much like you said. Now they have a crop of their own talent. Of course, some of them are not signed to the company, but all of the guys that are in the tournament are regulars. So this is a full-blown All Japan Junior Tournament without any outside influence, and it's of a great quality.
Exactly, and it really feels like they're making steps to turn things around, and I think that's admirable because of how the first half of the year was. Like, it really like the last year. Like, once Anzai dropped the title, I think the company took a big step backwards in general. And it feels like they're finally getting things back on track. And that's even without Anzai. Like, even because he's missing wherever he is right now. I really wish that he was here, to be honest. Instead of Aoyagi winning. I wish Anzai would win the belt. But maybe that'll happen in the future when he gets back. And it feels like they're actually taking steps forward. And it feels like they're doing it, and like you said, it really feels clear that they purposely have toned things down and made a pivot when they needed to, because they could have just been stubborn and doubled down on what they were doing. You
That's
know,
right.
yeah.
Mhm.
Most companies do. Most companies do double down.
It's wrestling. That's pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Yes, and one thing that gives me hope too is that Naoya Nomura is back.
That was great news. Yeah.
Ryukyu Honda in a midsummer special singles match at the Ottawa show. After that, there is the August 10 show in Yuma Oyagi's hometown with the title match set up, and then the Odo tournament starts to set up the next challenger for the Triple Crown.
Before we get to that, real quick, I asked one question. What did you think of Honda's title match? Which we totally skipped over.
I thought it was. Yeah, I was going to ask you. I didn't think too much of it. I thought it was an okay match.
It was a Jun Saito title match. Is what I would call this.
Yeah, lots of brawling on the outside again. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, man, it really just makes you appreciate that Hideki match that we had. It's like that was so much better than it had any right to be. But yeah, Honda was not the answer to get the most out of Jun Saito, and I think that it felt like even they knew it. That's why I was in the middle of this junior tournament. It's like, Honda, Jun, this match has no heat. Like nobody's that interested in it. Let's just get it out of the way. It's got a pretty good rating on Cage Match, 7.57, but
yeah, I was not too thrilled with it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a big step back from the Hideki match. I thought it was a very average match, like 3-star level at best.
All right, the Odo tournament is approaching. It's starting on August 24 in Kurikan Hall with 3 matches actually. Rei Saito faces X. Have they ever announced who X is going to be? I don't think, right?
No, they haven't announced that.
Not yet. No. Huh.
Who could it be?
X is teaming with Davey Boy Smith Jr. on the Ottawa show, so I'm expecting it to be yet another foreigner coming in.
That would make sense.
Some Canadian guy.
Who doesn't want more Canadians?
I mean, yeah, sure. So that's fine.
It would make sense.
I don't know who it could be. So Rei Saito versus X, Yuma Aoyagi versus Naoya Nomura, Kento Miyahara versus Kengo Mashimo. Then the next shows are in smaller venues, in Kubiki Messe, in Chiba, I think that is. We have Shotaro Ashino versus Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Hideki Suzuki versus Odyssey Jones, that is, formerly WWE guy. Yeah, not a good choice by All Japan, actually. Kobe Sambo Hall, 3 matches. Ryukyu Honda versus Kumarashi, Hokuto Omori versus Zion, and Jun Saito versus Ren Ayabe. And then we go to the second round matches in Shinkiba and in Utsunomiya. That's on September 3rd and on September 6th. So round 2 is either Jun Saito or Ren Ayabe against Hokuto Omori or Zion. And Ryukyu Honda or Kumarashi versus Shotaro Ashino or Davey Boy Smith Jr. And then we have Rei Saito or X against Hideki or Odyssey, and Miyahara or Mashimo versus Yuma Aoyagi or Naoya Nomura. And these 2 brackets that I just mentioned make up the semifinals. And the semifinals and the finals happen on September 15. Who is winning this?
So we are to believe, according to both of us, that Aoyagi will be the champion. By this time this tournament ends. Which would make a lot of sense for Naoya to win.
Yep.
He's facing you in the first round.
Thinking that as well.
Or X. I mean, that is, no pun intended, an X factor, like depending on who that could be.
Yeah. I mean, ruling out, of course, is Ryukyu Honda. He just hit a Triple Crown shot.
No.
Kento Miyahara will probably once again be in the finals. That put over one guy.
Yeah, it's kind of his. Yes, he always does that. Yes. Yuma would win as the champion.
Exactly. Davey Boy also had a title match not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go with Naoya Nomura.
That would be the feel good win if he won. That would be the one that would make me happiest. Unless they were like, "Hey, let's push Ashino again."
Yeah.
But that won't happen.
No, of course not. He has this Havoc tag team group going on that is very important.
Oh yes.
Where do they have the Kirkenhall show, and then they have on the 23rd of September. They have the Tokyo Arena Tachikawa booked, probably for the title match then.
Hey, whatever happened to Talos?
He's still there.
Maybe he could be X.
Oh, he could be X.
Yeah,
but
he's
it
big.
would be weird if he was teaming with Davey Boy on that one show, right? Maybe he's going home after this tour.
We need somebody big that Ray could lose to. It'd be credible.
I mean, he's facing Ren Ayabe at the August 3rd show, so that's probably him losing there.
Ray's got to get some wins, so we can't put these guys under too much.
Not Ray, Ren Ayabe.
Yeah, but
you're talking about Ray. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ray's facing Talos allegedly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, Dylan, here, this one tournament, the Zennichi Junior Festival, really good tournament. We'll see about the Odo tournament, what that brings us. And finally now, final talking point on this show is, of course, the G1 Climax of New Japan Pro Wrestling. We are 6 days into the tournament, and the way that we'll approach this is the way that we'll always do when we run down the tournament and we make an assessment of some parts of the tournament. Like now, after 6 days, we talk about each and every guy in the tournament. But first of all, of course, much like with the Zennichi Junior Festival, Dylan, what's your overall feeling right now?
I think I don't know, man. Like, I don't really feel anything for it. These are shows.
Numb to the G1 Climax.
I mean, there's no doubt these matches have happened. Like, I have watched a wrestling ring in a building with fans around it and wrestlers doing stuff inside the ring. The one thing I have assured of it, and it's a point I've made on the patreon.com, Eastern Lariat. I reviewed every single match of this tournament, and I will continue to. Same day reviews every day on the Patreon. I'm so damn sick and tired of every show somebody going into the damn guardrail or in the crowd in these empty arenas. It's such a bad psychology. Like, okay, we get it. Like, the fans aren't really coming out that much to these shows. That's okay. That's one thing. But they draw attention to it when they brawl into the crowd. Like, why do you need to dive into the crowd if you're El Phantasmo when there's 1,000 people in this huge ass arena or whatever? Why do you have to go to the guardrail every show if you're everyone? Like,
it's one of the most tiring tropes in all of pro wrestling. And I've said it to you before, I am at this point where I skip all of these crowd brawls now. Because
during the match, you're just like, oh wait, I gotta fast forward now.
Yes, I fast forward during the match. Some of the matches, like for example, the one that Bozilla and Ruaka had at the 5-star Grand Prix. That was a fun brawl.
That was good.
So I made sure to go back and to watch that, and it was one of the most awesome visuals of the last couple of months that I can remember, when Bozilla just like Ruaka was throwing this chair in her way, and Bozella was just tossing it away with her bare hands. That looked so awesome. But for the most part, much like I said about Jun Saito and Honda just a couple of minutes ago, these outside brawls and the guardrail tossing, it's just tiring. It's just the same all over again, and it happens in every third match, it feels like.
And exactly right. And a lot of these guys are super formulaic. Like, to be perfectly honest with you, like, even the good ones are like Bolton.
Mm-hmm.
I love him, and he's great, and he's fun to watch. But it is kind of the same thing. And when they deviate from it, we get what we had against Tsuji, where he climbed the ropes and they just totally blew that spot. And I give them credit for trying, because Tsuji's got a mind for that. But Oleg's kind of a formulaic guy. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, we're seeing the same kind of matches repeatedly. You know, obviously, the House of Torture ones, everyone's to. Tanahashi, you have the crowd invested more, and a lot of his matches are in the main event, so they're giving him time, and
Yep.
he's going all out to try to make this work. He's hit high fly flows or missed them in every match. He's not held back at all. He's trying to do everything he can, and his mind is great. So you get stuff like one of my favorite matches was him versus Finlay, where the greatest part of that match was him winning with the inside cradle.
Yes, such a great match.
And that perfectly set up the next match he had against Oiwa, where he tried that again, and that led to an amazing near fall. So
he tried it against Bolton as well.
Exactly.
Bolton was too much of a dude for Tanahashi to roll him up.
And that's what I'm saying. Tanahashi's trying to make his matches different, which is why he's been one of the standout guys. And you see most of the other ones, and they're all kind of formulaic. Tsuji's another guy I think does try. Like, not everything's hit. Like, he's not been great in all of his matches. But I do at least think he tries to be different.
Yes. When was it, actually? It was the show when Yuya Uemura beat Callum Newman, not with the deadbolt suplex, but with an underhook pinning combination. Because he didn't get the suplex done on Newman, and he just pinned him down. And 2 matches later, Yoratsuji won with a similar hold against Roy Oiwa, as Oiwa was on the verge of putting him away, which was, by the way, Tsuji and Oiwa on day 5 of the G1 Climax, my favorite Oiwa match to the day. He hasn't looked better before that. So Tsuji and Uemura both winning with pinning combinations was one of my favorite parts of this tournament, because they are somewhat linked to one another, specifically after last year when Uemura was injured in the match with Tsuji. So that was a good way to deviate from the formula that you just mentioned.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think Tsuji's one of the least guilty of this. Uemura is a pretty formulaic guy, but he's done it. Like you said, he did try to divert from that against Cal. Hey, Newman, he has definitely improved since last year. I have to say, like, he's selling better than he ever has before. I really think that Goto match was a great turning point for that guy, because he really wasn't. And it's not like, I get it that he's young, but he's been wrestling for years now. It's not like he's a new guy. Like, he's been around the block for a while, and he's been a New Japan guy for a couple of years now. But
I think something clicked for him in that match.
Yeah. And he's brought it into the tournament to where he's done a good job. He's not like blowing me out of the water or anything, but if you compare him to last year, it's night and day. And I think that's what they wanted and what he should have aimed for. So I really have to praise him.
Yeah, not only the tournament, but the match against Taichi, when it was about the entry into the tournament, was very good as well. Very dramatic finish.
Yeah, and Taichi has done a great job.
Yes.
As well, obviously. So, again, that's really my main problem with the tournament overall, is just there's a lot of formulaic guys and a lot of uninteresting stuff going on. I think they tried to, like, especially that first night, they just went a little crazy. It was like all kinds of upsets, like up and down the card to try and make it more interesting and shake things up a little bit. You had like Narita go over Zack, like Yoshihashi over Shingo, nobody expected. They were doing a lot of crazy stuff on there. Like Drilla, they got off to a hot start. So they're trying to establish some guys with weird booking. It feels like we're about to get to where they want things to be. Like, to me, like the interesting guy going forward, none of his matches have been that good, to be honest with you, because he hasn't really been put in position to have good matches. But because of the booking, Yoshihashi is like the most interesting guys. Like he's basically one win away from advancing because of the Kidd injury, giving him the 8 points.
We were discussing that in the Cage Match Discord as well. They probably have to rebook a lot of this tournament in the end. Yeah,
and I mean, I think Kidd was somebody that I personally predicted would advance.
Yeah, sure. I think most people did.
Yeah, and I think, again, I don't think I'm alone in that. I think most people did. So now with the extra points, and because they gave Yoshihashi those quick wins early, and they were probably planning to have him go down Now they basically have no choice other than to have him lose. But that also could hurt Zach because that was a big circled match on the last night was Hashi and Zach.
Exactly. Yes.
So they have to decide a lesser of two evils that they weren't going to book originally. Like you have Zach move on, which nobody should want.
I guess both you and me had the Zack Sabre Jr. upset circled.
Yeah, I told you about that.
For Goto. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it was a smart idea, booking wise, but I just think that, we'll see what they do. Like going forward with that, because that is kind of like an interesting thing. And now that Kidd's out, that kind of shakes things, opens up things, because I thought in his block, Takeshita is going to advance, especially after the number that his main event did the other day. We all pretty much knew that. I thought Umino was a pretty safe bet to advance, considering the story they were telling in the block he was in. And then Kidd was the natural third guy.
Yeah.
And now they have to figure out who can take that spot.
Yes, so I would, like I said, as I said it on Twitter a couple of days ago, with Kidd out and the situation that we have right now, I would actually give Driller the chance to make it to the playoffs at least, and not advance to the semifinals or anything like that. But that would actually make sense as well when we talk about Yoshihashi taking revenge on Goto. It would be Driller basically taking the position that Gabe Kidd would have gotten, and you just don't really lose anything with him getting that mini push here.
I think that would hinge on how this will play out with Finlay. Because he's another guy that's had very interesting booking, and that he's a huge geek, pretty much.
Oh Jesus! Now we're talking about like all the way through this tournament about guys, but we have to bring up one point here on that, because you just mentioned him. He's one of the biggest geeks in this tournament. The Callum Newman match. As much as you praised the guy, Callum Newman versus David Finlay was one of my least favorite matches of the tournament, because it was so blatantly obvious that Newman would get the upset win on Finlay, as Finlay was parading around the entire match to almost a comical degree. And after the match, he doubled down on that because he threw a tantrum as if he was a comic figure.
I hated that. That's where it hurts, because to me it's pretty obvious. They, in true New Japan fashion, have geeked this guy out so bad, and now he's going to win all of his matches to advance.
It's exactly good. That is exactly the point that I brought up with Pro Wrestling Noah that we just talked about, when they just now, they have this feel-good ending now, and everybody loves it. But with this here, they geek this guy down to build him up again. And then they geek him down again, build him up again.
Yeah.
Geek him down, build him up.
I've been saying this for years. And now we get an advanced version. We saw it, again, we're going to talk about the number that they did.
And I mean, I never had any counter argument to that. It's just what they do.
Yeah, it's a poor number. But, at the end, though, people were saying this man should be the champion 3 months ago. He won the New Japan Cup. And you wonder why, not you specifically, but you wonder why he doesn't catch on the way you want him to. His whole storyline this tournament has been, man, I'm not a very good leader of the Bullet Club. How will history look at me compared to AJ and Kenny and these legends if I don't do anything with my career and I just keep losing? That was his story. He cut a promo saying essentially that.
Mm-hmm.
And even if he wins and comes back and advances and you get his big moment or whatever, you had this guy throwing a temper tantrum after a loss to Callum Newman. I just don't know if this is it. Maybe he told them, the only thing that I could say that would be good is if he just told them, hey, I'm going to leave. I'm going to America. I don't have anything left. Whatever you do with me, just do it. And maybe that will explain this. And that could set up Gabe Kidd maybe taking over the Bullet Club like they wish could happen. Or Drilla, like you said, maybe because Gabe was probably going to leave too. So you could just put Drilla over as the next big foreign guy. there. But if they're just going to do what they always do with Finlay, I see it working like it always does, which is it doesn't. Except the problem is he's a great worker, and he makes a lot of stuff works, unfortunately.
I was just going to bring that up. And the disconnect, that's where the disconnect actually starts, because Finlay has been one of the best guys of the tournament.
Absolutely agree with that.
When you look at his matches that he had, first of all, I didn't particularly like the Roy Oiwa match. It comes away a bit better than I thought it was, 6.85 in cage match. He has the match against Zanada. Zanada decided for the first couple of days of the G1 Climax, okay, I'm working now. And now he is back to now he is back to what he was in the couple of months before.
He's Triple J. Japanese Jeff Jarrett.
Yes. So, but that was a good match too. Then the Taichi match was great. Taichi and David Finlay was a tremendous match. 7.99 cage match. I would say it was a bit better than that, leaning into the 8 direction, 8 out of 10. And similar to the Tanahashi match, that was also very, very good.
That match was great.
7.37, also rated a little bit low, in my opinion. And then the Callum and Finlay match, which I didn't like. But Finlay still, who does Finlay have left? He has Yota Tsuji left. He does have Oleg left and Yuya Uemura. So that's 3 matches that you can pinpoint. All of these 3 will probably be very good. And of course, he has Evil.
Huh?
He has Evil.
Yeah, he's beating Tsuji and Evil for sure, because those are comeback wins. And he's probably going to beat the other 2. Maybe Oleg, if they want to not give him a title match, and they use that. But it's looking strong that he's going to bounce back. Now, another thing I didn't like about that Newman match, Finlay's almost too good in giving as a worker, because I noted this in the Patreon review, so I'm not just saying this because we're talking about it. I thought the match started off really great, actually. When Newman jumped him, and the fire that Finlay showed when he fired back was great. It just kept going on with Newman in control. And I didn't there was a spot near the end where Newman fired up and hit him with a lariat, and Finlay went upside down. He did a full flip for it. And that's not good psychology, because his character is based more as a power guy now. He's the one that throws people around and is the power guy. He shouldn't be flipping upside down for this Callum Newman. With all due respect to him, he's not a power guy. Nobody would consider Newman a heavy hitter. His better than last year. So I thought Finlay was a little too giving, actually, to a smaller opponent there. I think if you're going to give a power guy push, be that dude. That would be my one flaw. But it came from a good place. He wanted to make Newman look good. So and it did in its own way. But yeah, Finlay's great. I hate the booking of it, of what they've done with him, and I think that he's going to come back. But I think doing this with the temper tantrum and all that stuff, it really feels like there's going to be some big changes coming for this Bullet Club, which shows how instrumental that dog pound cage match was. The group has been in disarray ever since winning the match, of course.
In classic New Japan fashion.
I hate that match so much, Strigga. It's grown as when I first saw it, I was like, why do people like this? This match wasn't that good. Now I hate that match so much.
It's going to be some Bullet Club part of the Bullet Club lore for years to come.
I know.
So
and again, they're at least telling a story with him being a Bullet. What do you think about that? That his leadership is now in question because of the skid that they've put him on for the last 6 months. Outside of
the seeds were planted in the cage match, much like we discussed at the time. Him being hung there and everybody just leaving.
Oh, I hated that. I hate that match, Strigga.
The issue now is that Gabe Kidd is out. And he was the natural one to turn against him and lead the other ones. So I'm thinking that they might push that back.
I think so too. I don't love it, because he's another guy that, and a lot of it was his own doing with the AEW stuff. But he is not, I actually said when he got injured, I actually think this could be a blessing for him. because his character was dead in the water. Like the king of strong style, the New Japan Lion Mark, that shit isn't gonna fly anymore. Like the fans are not buying it, no matter what you say. His match against Tanahashi did a terrible number when he was in the main event.
He is the personification of what you just said about pro wrestling. He's doubling down,
and it's a big mistake. Like we all know that. I don't have to write on it already.
It's actually a great point that you brought up. Maybe this is a halt that could make him and the company think about what in the hell this guy is supposed to be.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, it's the proofs in the pudding. They put him in the main event in Tokyo Budokan for the title, and it bombed. Like it did, like 1,300 fans. Like nobody wants to see this anymore in Japan. And it's a greater point I'm going to bring up when we talk about that Oda War in the tournament. Actually,
let's talk about the guys here. So we've already talked about David Finlay. He is one of the best guys in the tournament. We've also, I think Peps brought it up in the Cage Match Discord. The way that he threw around Hiroshi Tanahashi was something to behold.
That was a great match. That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about Finlay already. Zanada. We also talked about him. He has had
Triple J.
Yeah, he has had a great start where everybody thought, look at Zanada. He's actually wrestling now again. And then the Taichi match happened, and now it's going to be down the drains.
What do you think his best entrance outfit has been?
It was the one with where he had this white suit and the yellow branches.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett. Yeah.
It kind of looked like
against Taichi, right? Was it against Taichi?
I thought that was his latest match, but I know he came out with one where he looked like a disco ball, like almost.
Yeah, that was great too.
Yeah, so.
And I want to bring that up. He said it on Tokyo Sports. He is dressing like that as an antithesis to the company because the new generation sucks.
Well, Dylan, I mean, he's half right.
Dylan, you know, art is very subjective, and with his outfits, he is definitely walking piece of art. Definitely, if you like that art or not is completely up to you, and it varies from night to night how outlandish the guy looks, if you like it or not. I think
he's an abstract artist. This is just true.
He really is.
I would say, but as a wrestler, there's not a lot there. I would say, that last match we saw
against Taichi.
Yeah, that match was awful. Like I
actually said we're 6 days in, but we're 7 days. Yes.
Yeah.
7. Yep.
Yeah, that match was horrible. I thought like total train wreck. But yeah, I don't know. I guess the match. I'll say this about him and Evil when he comes up. Their match against each other was at least somewhat amusing because they, instead of having this House of Torture gimmick be something that we have to take seriously, and the announcer saying, "Damn it all, Dick Togo, what a dick," and like the stuff we've heard a million times.
Yes.
Like instead of that, it was a legit comedy match. Yeah. Like we know that it's bullshit. And don't even worry about it affecting anything. Kanemaru pulling the ref out and putting the ref shirt on was funny. On there, and I'll give them that.
That's what I've said all along. If you put the House of Torture in these kinds of matches, in these kind of situations, in the mid card, it's fun. But I mean, it was still I know, but it's fun. But when they are in danger of like main event territory, then it gets awful.
Like I said, it was bad, but better than how it usually is. But I mean, to me, I don't think we look at the company. Like I think the company would be actively better without this in the tournament.
I agree.
Again, I will talk about that number, and I'm going to bring that up.
I mean, when I watched this match with Zanada and Taichi, and it's something that you have to keep in the back of your mind that this is a tournament for the number 1 contendership to the world title, and they are goofing around.
Yeah.
And doing House of Torture shit, and that's mid-card. It's okay. They don't have to be in the tournament. So, that is Zanada. Callum Newman, like we said, he has improved. His best match, according to Cage Match, was the one against Yuya Uemura. I think the Oyo match was on the similar level. So everything was pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't think any of his matches were great, but I think his performance is better than it was. Like last year, he was like the worst guy in the tournament, and I think he's done quite a bit better. Like he's shown active improvements. He's still not my favorite, but at least we're seeing him grow a little bit. There's some other guys that I can to as like, okay, you've been around 5 years now, and you're kind of like you haven't improved at all. Yeah, but we'll talk about him in B block. But
yes.
go on.
We've already talked about Hiroshi Tanahashi. He had the main event on the first night, had a very good match with Taichi. And when I look at his match guide, we have the match against Oleg Bolton that I really loved, and then that I think comes away too low with 6.94. Thought it was a great match. With the one against David Finlay, pointed out, one of the best matches of the tournament so far, and then the one in the main event against Ryohei Oiwa. What do you think about Tanahashi so far?
Well, Strig, I think that Tanahashi is a guy that he could have come in here and you could have been thinking, man, what am I doing? Like, is it? And we've seen years like that with him too, to be fair, where it feels like he's on his last legs, and people, when he came in the tournament, they were speculating on if he, could he make it through the tournament? But he's proven once again that he's like the immortal one. Like, he cannot be stopped. His mind is so strong, and he's so great of a pro wrestler. Even now, which no doubt his body is far from 100%. No one in their right mind thinks he's what he was 10 years ago. And yet, when you see him wrestle, he makes every match better with him being in it. And I think he has a strong case for being the best wrestler in this tournament, Strigga, when you look at him. And I have now sent you something, I've DM'd you something that you need to take a look at, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
And I think this will be the nail in the coffin on all of our discussions on Tanahashi.
Just looking. I have to go to my DMs now.
I have something for you to be signing right now.
Dylan has sent me a Hiroshi Tanahashi apology form from Trigger to Dylan. Reason for behavior. The media, except Dylan, convinced me he was done. I don't actually watch his matches. It would make me feel better if the Reiwa generation was as good as him. I was jealous of the ace of the universe. I don't know anything about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I prayed that he would stop being so great, and it never happened. So it's 6 choices that I'm going to make.
Yes, you must sign the contract, Strigga.
Can I choose 2?
Yes. You don't have to sign all of them. You don't even have to sign any of them. You just need to sign.
I think the ones that come closest to what I was going for with Tanahashi in the last couple of years was the media convinced me he was done, and it would make me feel better if the Reiwa generation was as good as him. And
that's actually a reasonable feeling, because I also would like that, but it's not true. Like I said, he's proving it once again.
How many of these apology forms are you projecting to get?
I've sent out quite a few on Twitter. My good friend of the show, Amy Hay, made sure to like my post when I posted it twice on both of her accounts. She liked it so much. So I do appreciate that very much. People rallied behind me, Strigga, because they realized that the people have been down on Tanahashi for so long that they have to realize he is one of the best in the company. I said it on that episode a month ago, remember? And when I said it, it was a praise of him, yes, but actually more a diss to the whole company. Because that's bad. Like, Tanahashi should not be the best guy in the tournament in 2025. But here we are. Like, every match of his, you have the emotions, you have the excitement, you have him giving his all. He hit 3 high fly flows the first show in the main event against Taichi. in a great match, one of the best in the tournament. Everything he's counted on in the main event above everybody else. Even they know he's one of the most interesting booking guys to look at. He's got a story going for his 100th G1 win and becoming the first man ever to do that. Everything about him is just the best, and he shouldn't be. He should be what everybody said he was. He should be on his last legs, and like he looked like he was last year. But he's defying all of the odds. This is not a nostalgia Muto bullshit run that everyone says is good. He's actually good. How is he doing it? Like, what is this man's secret? I don't know.
He's a genius.
I mean, he really is. Like, in terms of wrestling, he has just obliterated the standard. Like I said, this guy should be on a 10s-on level, like with all that he's put his body through, and yet he's doing it for the love of the game and trying to save this company and this tournament that is working against him at every step of the way. I love Tanahashi. I think he's great.
Yeah.
And I mean, we all love Tanahashi, even if we thought that he was done and toast and all of that. I always knew that everyone knew he was great. They just thought he was too old, which is fine. But he is proving me right again in 2025. I never doubted you, Ace. I want you to know that if you're listening. I never doubted you, and I want everyone on here to respect that fact. I never needed this apology form that was originally for Carmelo Anthony, and I reformatted it for Tanahashi.
All right, Dylan. I get your point, and I agree with that. Tanahashi is one of the best guys. Let's go to another guy who could make the claim that he was one of the best guys early on in the tournament. That is, of course, Taichi. He had the matches against Tanahashi, Yuya Uemura, and David Finlay that were really great. Then, though, had the matches against Evil and Zanata that threw him back when you go to match quality.
That's not his fault.
It's not his fault, no. He still has Yotatsuji, Roy Oiwa, Callum Newman, and Oleg Bolton left, so probably some more good matches for Taichi. I said it very early on in the tournament. It is so ridiculous to think that they wanted to leave out this guy, that they made space for 3 House of Torture acts in this tournament, and they wanted to leave Taichi out, who, of course, with a big chip on his shoulder, came into this tournament. But I mean, he's just, even without this chip on his shoulder, he is better than all of these House of Torture guys.
You know something else, Strigga? He's a champion in this company as we speak.
Oh no, we have to forget about that, because the other tech guy is not there. The other tech guy is conglomerating in AEW.
And he should be in there. And every bit of my heart and soul, I believe that. Taichi's great. I love that he's really able to shot, and they did a good job early on, because not only was he in the tournament, he was in the main, like against Tanahashi and Uemura, and he delivered big both times.
Yes.
I always say it with him and his current tag team partner. I feel the same about. Something that separates him from a lot of these younger guys they have, and what I really like about him. And Tanahashi's like this a little bit too, but he's not able to be as impactful as Taichi. Even though Taichi's kind of old too. He's like 45. He's not a young guy. He looks great for his age and all that, but like he's been at this for a long time. The thing I like about him and Ishii and Goto and guys like that, he wrestles in a way that makes me feel like he wants to win the match, which seems so simple. And yet with most wrestlers, I feel like I'm watching guys do moves, and we're getting from point A to point B to point C.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Taichi wants to actually win the match, is how he performs and how he wrestles. He wrestles with a sense of urgency that a lot of the current wrestlers don't have. And I think that makes him look even better, which he's already good and great, many people would say, and I would be one of them. But the fact that he stands out so much because of that reasoning, I really feel like every match to him, he wants to really win. And he wrestles like that. And I wish other people in the company, a lot of other people actually, would wrestle more like that. And it would make the tournament a lot better. So to me, he is one of the best guys. But he does have this roadblock that he has to get through in the House of Torture matches that he's gotten through now. Hopefully he can bounce back and have some more standout performances going forward. And I personally think he will.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, the guys that he has left, he's surely going to have a great match with Oleg, for example. That's going to be great.
That's a perfect matchup. And one other thing I saw online, especially early on, everyone was like, haha, New Japan did something brilliant. They've worked everybody. Like, Taichi was always going to be in the tournament. And we have caught on. While we didn't do it right away, Goto's injury, not legit. Like, that doesn't work. Overall. Like, people have caught on to that now. That's still bad, though. Like, it's still bad that he wasn't already in the tournament. He shouldn't have needed an injury to the champion to go into the tournament. He should have been one of the main fucking people in the tournament. And they gave him a good respect early. I don't foresee a lot of big wins in the future. Like, we're kind of skipping over these guys. Most of these guys we've talked about, I don't really foresee having a chance. Outside of Finlay.
Yeah, let's go over some guys because Dylan, we're running late here on the show already with Block A. Yeah. So, for Roy Oiwa.
Yeah, he's average to me.
Just he's very average, and you see it in his wrestling. I thought that when he had the match, which one was it? Where it thought the one with Yota, I said it. There it clicked somewhat. That some of the stuff that he wants to do comes together. But it's the same with Renarita on a different level, of course. But both guys, I don't think that the finish that they have fits them at all. With Renarita, it's this Hell's Guillotine knee drop from the top, and with Roy Oiwa, it's the grip, the rolling lariat. The grip really sucks, and he can't do it with the intensity that you should do a rolling clothesline. If you want to see someone do a rolling clothesline with intensity, look at Masato Tanaka. He's great at it.
And worse yet,
look at Masato Kikuta. Yeah. But compare that to the way that Oiwa does the rolling lariat. It's just not good. So
worse yet, his setup move is the Chaos Theory, which looks great. Like, that should be his finisher, not the fucking
And the setup move to that is the Dr. Bomb.
The Dr. Bomb looks good as well. Both of those are better than the grip, I would say.
Exactly.
I will say Tanahashi sold that very well. Like, I was pretty surprised. But yeah, the grip kind of blows as a finisher.
Oleg Bolton, he's good. He's performing well. He's, like you said, he's having his niche in his wrestling. What he does works for him right now. It's a second G1. You said it. Newman has improved to the level that he is now in the tournament. Oleg Bolton, I think, has once again stated the same as last year. He was good last year. He's good this year. So good for him.
I disagree. I think he was one of the best players in the tournament last year. And this year he's been kind of disappointing, actually. I have to say. Like, okay, yes, he's good. But like I said, I haven't seen any real strides from him. And he's not put in position to where he's having the matches that he needs to have, like against a Takeshita level player. Like they're not really setting up
better than last year. No, that's right.
No, he's not better. He's worse actively. Like, I think he's clearly taken a step back from where he was at last year. And I think that they needed him for this tournament to really succeed and be great from an entertainment perspective. They needed him to be great, and he's actually been disappointing. So I think that's a big problem.
I would agree that he was disappointing. I really liked the Uemura match. Really loved the Tanahashi match. Thought the Tsuji match was very good, except for the blunder there. But other than that, I can't really complain about Oleg.
I think every match he's had has been in the 6 to 7 out of 10 range, to me, and that's not good enough to beat last year. I mean,
that's true. But in comparison, look at the other matches that we just talked about. Oiwa, we just talked about guys like Callum Newman. We talked about.
I would say that's true of them. Like, every match they've had has been between 6 or 7. Like, all of these guys are on the same level, and Bolton is better than these guys.
What do you think about Yuya Uemura?
I know a lot of people love him so much.
I know you don't, and I fail to see why that is actually with you and him.
he's just a really just like what I said last time. He reminds me of Wataru in a way. And I think that has to be said when we're blaming New Japan's booking a lot. The crop they have, this generation of wrestlers, is also not good enough. Like, up and down. It's not just him, it's all of them. Like, none of these people have been where they should have been. We knew that last year. Zach winning the tournament was an indictment on that generation, not necessarily a pro for him. And we saw how that worked. It shouldn't have been him. It should have been one of them. Because, yes, it's easy to blame the booking for the last 3 years, but it's not like they've really earned it either. Like, none of them. And he just really feels to me a guy who executes moves really well.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I will say this about him, and why I've kind of warmed up on him the last couple of matches, because for a while, like, go back to the first Tsuji match that Uemura and Tsuji had, that a lot of people praised and said it was so great.
Yes.
But if you look at that match, they did all this arm work that never really went anywhere. And that's actually a lot of his matches. Where if you want a bunch of pointless arm work to waste time, he does it well, it just never means anything. The last couple of matches, they've actually tried to do something with it, and I like the story with the deadbolt. Like, they've given him a hook throughout the tournament, and I think that's made him a lot better than he was. At least he has something to hang on to. That said, he hasn't really blown me away. Like, he's just better than a lot of really people.
And it's yes, and that is exactly the deal with him. I mean, it's also the point that you make. This current generation is not blowing anyone away, but Yuya Uemura of these guys, in my opinion, when you just look at the fundamentals that he has and the way he approaches wrestling, he is the best of them.
I've never said otherwise than that. Like, in terms of execution, yes.
And Tsuji is the perfect foil for him, because Tsuji excels in another direction, and he is much more of a charismatic guy and more of a powerhouse. And that is why this match between the two, I thought it was one of the best matches of the tournament, really highlighted each other's strengths. And that's where we are with these guys. Shota Umino had the match with Zack Sabre Jr. that was much, much better than the Tokyo Dome match that I saw live.
That was one of the best matches of the tournament.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
So Shota, I don't see it with Shota. I have hopes for Yuya Uemura to make the next step up, and we'll see where that goes after the G1.
Yeah, I think he's a really mid-card guy. Like, he still doesn't have anything that makes... When I see him, he's not a main event player. I'm sorry. Like, there's nothing about him, look-wise or presentation-wise. He doesn't carry himself.
When you compare him to the generation before, that's true. That's true and all, but they don't have the choice.
But Tsuji does feel like a main eventer.
Yeah, but you can't always have only Tsuji.
Well, I mean, they've had the veteran guys to go through, and Aaron Wolf is going to overjudge the guys anyway. And that's going to be...
He will.
Like, this generation is lost. I think Tsuji has the best chance to actually move forward of the three. And the thing is, it's really Umino because they're going to force the issue with him. Now, where does Uemura fit in now? You've got 3 young guys ahead of him, and the veterans that they're going to turn to.
Yeah, he might in the end not be the main event player, but he will always be like a secondary or third guy.
And that's fine. I mean, I that's where I see him. I like him as
when you look at a guy like Oiwa, he's much more far down from Uemura, and Uemura is far superior to him.
Uemura is better than all of those guys you mentioned before that were in that 6 to 7 range, including Oleg, who I wouldn't have said coming into the tournament, to be honest. And I Uemura has done better than those guys. He deserves credit, and I like his wrestling. I just wish he was more interesting. There was something about him that would make him a main event player. I think he could get there if they choose to take him in a different direction character-wise.
Yes, okay. I get where you're coming from with this. I still have hopes for Uemura that we will get eventually something out of him that is more fiery.
I like that where the direction they've gone with him in his matches, because a lot of the stuff I thought was very not like I said, arm work that went nowhere. But now they're actually making it go somewhere.
I'm really hoping that he will be Tanahashi's final opponent.
I think that's possible. We'll have to see how their match goes. Uemura's winning that, by the way. Like, Uemura dropped the fall to Tanahashi.
And that's exactly why I'm hoping that.
Yeah, and maybe we'll see where he goes. Did you see him do the frog splash in the other match too.
Yeah.
See that they could be setting, and again, maybe he is who they believe in as well. But to me, when I see him in
New Japan thinks nobody is watching Dragon Gate anyways, so Tanahashi can give away the high fly flow one more time.
Which was a great thing for Yoshioka, I will say.
Yeah.
But it's just like when I look at him and Tsuji, it's like one guy is the guy, and then you see this Wataru Inoue guy like here. It's like, oh, okay. I just think Tsuji really overshadows him when they wrestled in their match together.
So Tsuji is leading the block right now, and when we look at Tsuji's matches, we had the starting one with the Zanada, which was really not good. Evil was not good. It was 2 back-to-back matches for Tsuji. Then Yuya Omura, 8.26. Oiwa, 7.61. You have to give it to Tsuji. He has had the best Oiwa match of the tournament too. Yep. And the one against Oleg Boltin, 6.13. Good stuff for Tsuji Soba.
He's good. I really like him. Like I said, he would be up there to me as one of the MVPs of the tournament. It's actually good that he got Evil and Sonata out of the way. Forget about it by the end of the tournament.
Exactly. Right.
So, and he's delivering his end of the bargain. And again, I like him because he's not as formulaic as these Oiwa and Uemura guys. Like they just do the same stuff, which again works with the Uemura. Like they've done a good job circumventing that a little bit. But Tsuji is like, he really tries. I can really feel that he's got a good mind for wrestling. He wants to try all this different stuff. That's Suicide Dive, Tope Suicida he hit. That Oleg match was fucking... that was such a good spot. He's really good, though. Tsuji's the one by far that's impressed me the most.
So we go to Block B, which is in disarray because of the Gabe Kidd situation. We've talked about that. Yoshihashi on top with 8 points. Drilla has 6. Renarita has 6. And has the tiebreaker over Zack Sabre Jr., which might bite him in the ass as well.
I know. Yeah, they're so fucked up because they wanted to make everything so... They fucked up.
Yeah. I think, they usually fucked up. So, there's no real reason to talk about Gabe Kidd anymore. He has had the match with Takeshita on the first night, then dropped out injured. Shingo Takagi, Dylan, he has had the match with Takeshita as well. That
best match of the tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, easily.
The tournament, I mean. Yeah. That was the G1 spirit, man.
That was the first time this whole tournament. Because, again, like, even the people I'm praising, like in A Block, it's like you get emotional stuff, you root for the third generation and all that stuff. And like me, and like, I'm saying all of us, not just you specifically, but just all of us. But that was the match that really felt like, okay, this is what the G1 should be like. Just like Kenta and Keno and Noah. Like, that's how Noah should be. This is what the G1 should be. Where it's a spectacle kind of match. So much better than the...
There was no match in Block A that came close to the 2 best matches in Block B.
What was the second? Well, besides Shingo and Takeshita, what was your second pick?
Zack Sabre and Shota Umino.
Yeah, good point. I think those were the 2 best.
But Zack Sabre and El Fantasma was very good as well.
I didn't like that match that much, to be honest.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I think
I think the engagement users did too.
Yeah, it's got a high rating. That was the first match that I think I really disagreed with the inmates on, because I think they've done a good job rating things for the most part. I just thought that... I mean, I did a whole review of that match on the Patreon. It was okay, but not the best. Too long. Not the best. What were we talking about? Like in B Block?
No, we were just talking about best matches.
Oh, yeah.
I was just mentioning Shingo Takagi, best match in the block, and then we diverted to best matches of the block. Of course, you can go to Takeshita for the best matches. He has had a great match with the great Okan. To no one's surprise.
That's not what I would have picked as a great match, but nonetheless, he is good.
So Shingo Takagi, Dylan.
I thought early on they pushed him in a really weird way, and that he wasn't pushed at all, which is fine. I mean, that's kind of his role. Like, he's this mid-card type of guy at this point. But they started him off with that, like, totally... It was fine. Like, it's not like the work was bad, but they was like 4 minutes against Yoshihashi.
Yeah. It was so weird.
And then they had him against Okan, which was like a...
I hadn't even fully sat down to watch the match. And it ended.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. They wanted a shock victory to open up the tournament. That's fine. The Okan match didn't do a lot for me. Then Takeshita was the best match of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he is dependent entirely on where they put him on the card. If he's in the main event, he's probably going to deliver big. But for the most part, they put him in these undercard matches where he doesn't even have the chance to really do so. And this block is not great for that, I would say.
Yeah, he still has the Zack Sabre main event left. That should be great. Yeah, he's going to have a mid-tournament in the end, and it's going to show in the points too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see where he fits in as any kind of replacement for Kidd to move forward at this point.
No.
Yeah. I mean, he's good, though. Like, again, if they give him a chance, he'll deliver. It's just, will he get those chances?
Great Okan did get the chance last year, Dylan. Every once in a while, there is a flame that ignites within this guy, and he performs on a high level like he did with Tetsuya Naito last year, and that's another point, Dylan. Even though we were down on Tetsuya Naito, the star power and the energy level that Tetsuya Naito brings to the ring and brings out of all of these guys is surely missing from this tournament, much like Hiroki Goto is missing from this tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Great Okan, it's fine, right?
Yeah, I don't think he's very good. Even in the Takeshita match, that was to me, that match dragged so much when he was on top. It got exponentially better when Takeshita was on offense.
That's right. I think I'd agree with.
I think it's a shame because, like, in that match, it showed you that, like, Takeshita's great. It is kind of overpowering heel role. But in reality, he's like one of the best baby faces in the world. And we got to see that in that Okan match where Okan was kind of the top of the match. And that helped. But I just think Okan himself I just want him... like, there's never, ever any sense of urgency in his matches. Like, he just feels like a guy playing wrestler to me. I don't have any use for him. I think he's just nothing, in my opinion. I wish they'd given that push last year to 10 other people than him.
And it was one of those situations again where he got this push over Naito and nothing came out of that. Nothing happened.
I mean,
he's still the same guy.
Oh yeah, well, he got a title shot. Like that, I think that's about as far as that thinking went. Like, right. We want to push this like loser guy. Let's give him a win over Naito, over the champion.
Phantasmo, El Phantasmo. I know that he has his fans, and I liked the match with Zack Sabre Jr. and I liked the match with Takeshita enough, but I really have a hard time fully understanding why this guy has to be in the tournament, Dylan.
I think he's another guy. He stayed loyal to the company.
I know, yes.
And he's been a foreigner.
But there's others. There's others that's true to them as well. There's Yoshihashi, there's Taichi.
But they're not foreigners.
And yeah, that's right. But they all had to qualify for the tournament as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, he's a guy that stayed true to the company when he could have left during the pandemic. And I think they value that.
I know they do. Yeah. That's right.
I mean, he's a champion.
Yes.
Yeah, like the TV champion, but
finally got the win over Takeshita. Oh.
Yeah, and I predicted that. Yeah, I predicted that during the tournament because of their feud earlier in the year. I think that he's a guy. Like, there's some good in him, but it's not a lot. Like, overall. And I think he's another one of these guys. I compared him on the Patreon. He kind of reminds me a little bit of how they would try to push. Like, Okan's a good example. Master Wato is a good example too. Where he has like all of these different styles in his moveset that does he even know what kind of wrestler he wants to be? Do you want to be Shawn Michaels? Like, do you want to be an asshole? Do you want to be a babyface? Do you want to be AJ Styles? Like, who do you want to be? Like, you're grabbing all of these references, but none of them are very cohesive in his actual matches, in my opinion. And I think that he's a guy that he's another one too. Point A to B to C. Like, he doesn't fight like he wants to win. He fights like he's here to do moves. And I will say about him, for what he does try hard to connect to the crowd. Like, he really plays up himself the best he can. Like, he made it feel like a big deal when he won over Takeshita. But other than that, when you actually watch him wrestle matches, I don't think he makes it feel real. And I just think that he's a really average wrestler. Like, long story short.
He is. It's not bad. Like I said, I like the match with Zack Sabre Jr. Was one of the best, I thought, in Block B. But other than that, there's not a lot to take away from his tournament so far.
Historically, he's a guy I say, like, he's good for one match every tournament. That's one of the best of the entire. Like last year versus Takeshita was an incredible match.
Yes.
And this year, it was like night 13 or something.
Yeah.
And this year we got a very good match, which was significantly lesser than last year. And I don't think we'll be remembering him much. Like, any of his matches so far, he's got a couple of good ones, but none that I think will threaten for the most memorable rest of the tournament.
Yeah, in contrast to that, Zack Sabre Jr., the champion right now, is in the midfield of this block with 4 points, only 2 victories right now. And he has had a good match with Renarita on the opening night, 7.04. A very, very, very good match with Shota Umino that brought out the best out of Shota Umino that we've seen in ages, if not ever, 8.27, and the one with El Fantasmo, 8.41. I would say the Shota Umino match was better than the Fantasmo match, but it all comes down to that Zack Sabre Jr. is wrestling-wise probably one of the best guys in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, he's had kind of an up-and-down tournament for me. The Umino match definitely hit big. It felt like a make good for the Dome match in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's been good. But I don't know.
I mean, he only had 3 matches.
Yeah. So he's had 3 matches, and one of them was great, and one was good, and one was good, I guess.
Yeah.
Some people would say great. I get that I'm lower on the Phantasma match. I don't know. I just think he's such a bad champion. I don't actually like watching his match. Actually, like, most of the time, I just wish that he would like go away.
It's crazy when I watch him wrestle. I constantly forget that he actually is the champion.
And he's just such a bad, like, everything. There's like a black cloud following him. He's just like, why? How could they go back to this indie guy as champion? I don't know.
Yeah. It's what you said before about the new generation, right?
Yeah, even then, I mean, he's one of the worst champions this company's ever had, in my opinion. Like, what are they seeing?
Box office wise,
yeah.
I don't know why they went back to that. I've no idea. Actually,
I fear that he's so bad and things have gotten so low, like, since he's won the champion, that, like, whatever plan they had for Goto coming back and returning, I feel like they may pivot away from it, and that might cost Goto in the end. Which
they might.
I mean, it's fine if they go to Takeshita. Like, I think they will. They do pretty much, but, like, I don't know. Like, Zack to me is just not doing it this tournament. The match with Umino delivered big, and it was nice of him to pick a body part and stay consistent with it, which he also doesn't do in most of his matches. But, you know, he's fine. Like, he's totally fine.
Yeah, Shota Umino is next here in line with also 4 points, but defeated Zack Sabre Jr. The thing about Shota Umino is, and I can make it really short and sweet here, he is good to great when he has an opponent that brings it out of him. In the case of Zack Sabre Jr., he did that. He will face Shingo Takagi on the next night here in the Yamato Arena. And Shingo Takagi will bring out the best out of Shota Umino as well, especially because of the comments that Takagi made lately about Shota Umino just being one of the worst young guys that he has ever seen, and he doesn't believe in him. Completely ran the bus over him.
Well, that wasn't as good as what Umino said a couple of months ago against him.
That's right. So they are going to bring the best out of each other. The thing, though, is...
I loved their match in May, by the way. That was a great match. I thought that was the best Umino match, besides the Zack match that we talked about. I love that Shingo match. Yeah.
The thing, though, when Shota Umino doesn't have that, he doesn't have a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't have it on his own. He just doesn't. He is fine. When you looked at the matches with El Fantasma, with Drilla Maloney, he is a fine wrestler, but nothing more than that. He always needs someone else to lift him up to a level of a main event, and that's just not the guy material.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. He's really on the same level as those guys we mentioned in A Block that, like, always in between 6 and 7. Like, it's not like he's terrible or anything, but
No.
yeah, like, he really like you said, I mean, you said it, you hit the nail on the head. If you put him against the right guy, he can deliver big. Like, there's too many instances we've seen, not just in this tournament, but in his whole career. If you put him in the right circumstance, he can deliver. But is it consistent? Can he do it on its own? Can he carry someone the way we saw Takeshita try to carry Okan? No. And I think that there's no way you can argue that point. But he is the one that they're going to try to force through. I was really surprised you didn't have him advancing at first, which I'm sure you've changed with Kidd going out. I think that he is for sure one of the favorites. Like, if he won this tournament, I wouldn't be that surprised, to be honest. I don't think he will, but I do think he was my pick to make the final. I will say that. And I'd still think he will.
Where do I have Shota? No, I don't have Shota advancing.
Yeah, would you have him advancing now that Kidd's out?
I would have him advance now, yes. I had him beat Zack Sabre Jr. in the pick'ems. That was sure to me.
That was a lock. Yeah.
That was a lock. He ended up with 10 points, and Zack Sabre Jr. had 12 in my pick'ems.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like the pick of yours that stood out to me when we showed each other our predictions. That Umino didn't advance. I mean, it's not like I said. I mean, you having the champion advance is great. I like the story they told with Zack early on, where it was like they basically leaned into it, like, okay, this guy's a historically weak champion. Like, he can't win any of his matches. He only got points from the Gabe Kidd injury. I like that story they were telling, and I think that it's going to pay off. And he's about to we're starting to see the turnaround already. But I thought that was a good way to start him because of how bad the publicity was of his title win. At least it felt like they were listening to the fans, But Umino, they don't listen to the fans because I think they just want him to be a thing. And like you, I don't see any evidence of that so far. But I did like his match versus Zack.
Yes. Before we go to Takeshita, on top of the block, above Takeshita, there is Yoshihashi, Ren Narita, and Willa Maloney, all at 6 points, Dylan.
That tells you how this block's gone so far.
Well, I mean, Yoshihashi is always fine to watch. It's nice that he gets this run. Ren Narita
they're not using him.
No, they're not using him to the max. We will see that against Zack Sabre Jr. later in the tournament, probably. Ren Narita, for his level, for the House of Torture stick that he is running, he has done fairly well. If only that god-awful finish wasn't there.
Yeah, he's done better than anticipated, to be honest, in terms of performance. He's still not. He's just the same as all these other guys, like of his generation. Like, they're all the same kind of wrestler, like good, but not special in any way.
I want to say it was kind of a nice storyline element of the match with Shota Umino that Shota wanted to punch the real Ren Narita out of the House of Torture Ren Narita. That was a nice deal.
That made Umino such a
match. Yeah.
Because it led directly to Kanemaru blocking him in the head with the whiskey bottle. Like because when Narita begged off, Umino should have been like, "No, fuck you!" Boom. Instead, he was like,
it was more important to him in this tournament setting that he brings back his friend than winning.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, maybe he is a good guy now." What? Why? Why would you believe that? Like, literally, he cheated earlier in the match, like 2 minutes ago. I did like that, but I like the idea of it, just not how they execute.
Yeah. Driller, yeah, I said it before, with Gabe Kidd out, I could see them giving him the chance. He has not, though, delivered inside the ring to justify that.
Yeah.
He's not. I mean, he is probably there, what we said last year about Callum Newman. He's not ready for the position.
The only thing that he has going for, in my opinion, is the finish. And I like that they've protected this move so hard because it is a great move. The Driller Killer. And it's a one-shot kill. Like, it's his weapon. It reminds me of when Stardom a few years ago, like, Ami Sourei was a rookie, but they gave her the Thunderbolt driver, and that was like her ace in the hole, and it made her a threat. Mm-hmm. And they've pushed him well in the tournament. They're giving him respect. He's got 6 points. There's just not a lot there. As a worker, I'm just, like you said, he probably isn't really ready. They want him to be this never title style guy, like the Ishii, Goto, Shibata matches of old. And he's not in position to really do that in this tournament. And he doesn't even do it that well. Like, in all honesty, he came in as a junior, remember?
Yeah.
And I think that may have been a better spot for him being the power junior than smaller heavyweight.
It's been the case with some of these guys coming in to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and we said it before. You said it, the finish looks great and all, but in some cases, it feels like he's emulating that never stuff that he is supposed to do.
Totally great way to say it. You said it better than I did there. Like, that's exactly how I feel when I watch him. Great point.
Yeah, that's the block. And then, of course, Konosuke Takeshita, Dylan.
Yeah, who was the other guy between Yoshihashi and Drilla that we didn't talk about?
There is no one else.
Oh, we did talk about Narita. What did you think about Yoshihashi? He was just fine?
Yeah, he's fine. I mean...
Yeah. I thought he had the best Drilla match that we've seen, but it wasn't anything special. I'm looking forward to see who he faces going forward. If they give him time, I'd like to see what he can do, but I have to say, even though I'm a big fan of his, the match quality hasn't really been there. They're not going out of their way to make him seem special, even though they've given him wins.
Yeah, the only match that I can see... I mean, okay, yeah, he faces Takeshita in Osaka, but it's the first match.
See, that was one of the matches I had circled for the whole tournament as one of my most anticipated, because I wanted to see how they would wrestle each other. I think it could deliver huge, but I hate, like you said, that it's the first of the tournament.
And of course, they have not set the match structure for the final shows. He has Phantasmo and Zack Sabre left. Like I said, the Zack Sabre one will be pretty high on the card.
Why in the world did they put Suji and Oleg in the opening match spot? That last show
on Straight Wrestling recently, Dylan, we called him Obo.
Obo.
It's Bolton, Oleg Bolton. Whoever knows, it's Obo.
Obo. Oh, okay. Well, either way, why was that match the first on the card? That should have been one of the main event matches on that card. Anyway, just a tangent I made on the page that I wanted to do. Takeshita, the MVP of the tournament. He's the best guy. We all know it. He's probably going to win. And he deserves it. Like, he should. Yes. He should.
And that is really all that you have to say about the guy. I mean, look at the matches. He's at the best matches of the tournament. Has dropped some losses, I want to say. It's not
like they've went out of the way to protect him too strongly.
No.
I do anticipate he's going to get some big wins coming up.
Though. Sure. So it's the guys he has left, Keshta. Yes, he's for sure. Is he beating Zack? Zack needs some points, right?
Yeah, they both need points.
They both need points. Maybe they'll do a draw.
And I could totally see that happening, to be honest.
I could see that. Then he has Drilla, Yoshihashi, Shota, and Narita, and he's winning all of these matches.
Oh, yes. See, so he's safe. Like, he'll advance. But he's great. He was my prediction to win, and I believe he was yours too.
Yes. My final is Takeshita over, what do I have? Tsuji.
Okay, and I had Umino. I think that.
Actually, no. Wait a sec. I booked myself into a corner to have the wrong playoff matches. So in the end, I wanted it to be Takeshita versus Tsuji, but it didn't work out. So my final in the end was Takeshita versus Tanahashi because I booked myself into a corner.
That would honestly be the final I would book, because I think that would be the most emotional. But I think they're going to try and force feed Umino again in the final. But Tsuji's a totally realistic. I also think Takeshita will win because if you notice, after that abysmal house they did in Oda, the next show actually did quite a bit better with Takeshita in the main event. which is pretty interesting
Mm-hmm.
there. So I think that's all the signs are like the stars are aligning for Takeshita to move forward.
True. And there's really no other way to go around when you take the point that you made about the young guys generation, and there is really no dispute that they are all not on the level right now. At least Tsuji could be, like you said. I have hopes for Uemura as well, but right now Takeshita is the one that they have and that they should go with.
What do you think of the houses this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, it's what we said about the tournament before going into it, and what my friend Marvin has asked me before when they announced all the names for the tournament, and I said I'm not excited for this because it's all the same guys and it's nothing new, nothing original, and that's what the fans are telling them.
There's a lot of reasons. You mentioned Naito leaving.
Yeah.
I mentioned on Twitter. I mean, they built this dome show recently around like Naito and Hiromu was the drawing match of that show. And it failed. Like, it did not work. Naito has stumbled, like, the last year or so in terms of a drawing position, but he's kind of like a safety blanket, almost, for them. Where, you get the LIJ fans that will be loyal to him no matter what. I hated his run last year. Like, I thought he was among the worst people in the tournament, and I just don't think he has it anymore in the ring. So I personally don't miss him, but obviously losing him was a flaw. Goto losing the belt, I definitely think played a big role. I think people were down with that. The economy's not great right now in Japan.
No,
and running all these shows in Tokyo in the summer is not a good plan either. I said it. I mentioned it on Twitter. My idea, and I got some. We had a conversation with some of the fans. We're talking. I think next year they should really cut down on shows. Like, we should have every match in both blocks on every show, like 10 matches shows or whatever.
I mean, it's super comfortable to be able to just watch 2 of these shows as one when you only watch the tournament matches. But for the quality of the tournament and the drawing perspective, having all these undercard matches is not really doing it. I want to give one exception, though. It is how they picked up the young lions now. Like that Daiki Nagai is going with Shingo Takagi. Now, who is it? Yasuda Masatora? What's his name?
Okay.
Masatora. Yes, Masatora. I'm sorry. Masatora Yasuda is going with Taichi now, and they said that Murashima is basically with Tanahashi. So they positioned them to be like the young boys of the guys in the tournament, but that could also be told without having all these other card matches.
Well, I don't even care about that. I just think that they should have less shows. Like, instead of 19 shows, it should be 10 or 11.
I mean, that would add together then. Both of our points would add together. If they wouldn't have these undercard matches, they would have a full show of G1 matches.
Yeah, exactly. But it's it has nothing to do with the undercard matches. You're there. They just need less shows, I would say. If they wanted to downsize the tournament, that would be like if they wanted. But I think that they're missing. I mentioned on Twitter, they don't have any outsiders. Like, these are all people we've seen before, like Marvin said, and like, I think that
it's not what it's what I told Marvin actually.
Oh, okay.
And it's once again they have this United Japan Association.
Yeah, I mentioned this.
Why don't they use it? Why don't they do that?
And historically, this is what kind of got them through the Dark Ages, was working with Noah and bringing guys in, stuff like that. But now they're so hesitant to do it.
Promotional stuff is always great. Always hits.
I agree. We mentioned that we were talking about it on Twitter, like the Noah in 2016, when Nakajima flipped off the fans at the end. That was cool. Like, it got exciting. You could do a lot of things. You had Mao and Daya in the junior tournament. Bring some people over for the G1. Like, it would be fine.
Yeah.
And I do think too, when we were talking about that House of Torture stuff, and this is something I haven't seen been brought up. All the other stuff I said has been brought up by other people. The thing that I think really did some damage, and I think has lingered on throughout this tournament, and why things are down. I really think that Dominion show was a final straw for a lot of fans. Go back and watch that show. And we talked about it at the time. The crowd was not with what they were doing. Like all of the House of Torture stuff and the Gabe Kidd push, they weren't reacting to this stuff. They were telling you, we don't want to see this crap anymore. The one thing they did react to was the main event rallying behind Goto. And then he lost the title. So you've presented these people with something that they do not want to see.
Mm-hmm.
You doubled and tripled down on it, and with a show that got historically bad ratings. Not necessarily attendance, but so many people were upset about that show afterwards. And we even said it. I came on this show, I said, if you watch that show as a show, it wasn't that bad. It's just the booking of it all soured everyone's taste on it. And I think the fans really kept a hold of that into the G1, because it wasn't just the G1 shows. Like I mentioned, that Gabe Kidd and Tanahashi show before the tournament started, that show bombed. The fans are not into what we're seeing right now, and they're going to need a whole tournament to kind of ensure the fans that the House of Torture stuff that isn't over is not going to take over these shows like it did on Dominion. Because I think a lot of people saw that and was like, okay, I don't want to watch this. I especially don't want to pay to see this anymore. And I think this tournament is laying that out. So we'll see how it goes in the future. The tournament's been okay. I've seen a lot of actually good reactions online.
Listen, I'm not confident. I think whenever Gedo gets the chance, he will book another. I mean, we have seen Ren Narita beat the champion. We will see another tour of House of Torture main event levels.
Yeah, more than a tour. Right, more like a year.
Yeah, he's going back to that, even though the fans tell him differently. He's going to do that.
And I think it's rubbed off on the whole company. And it doesn't matter that it's just self-contained, the House of Torture garbage now. Now they just don't want to see this anymore, and that's a whole different level of heat. But like I said, a lot of people have been positive about this tournament, Strigga. Like they've been nicer than we have. Listening to us talk about it. Like a lot of people are into the matches and thinking that it's a good in-ring tournament. I think it's solid. There's not a lot of bad stuff, I will say. Like outside of Evil, really, and some people being lazy. It's not like there's these terrible matches up and down. There's just a lot of really uninteresting stuff to me going on right now. And maybe that'll turn around the second half of the tour when maybe we get some people closer to the finish line. You could have some interesting setups for people to advance. Maybe that'll make us like the tournament better, because a lot of people, I think, are enjoying this from an in-ring standpoint more than maybe we did. Definitely more than me. I don't want to speak for you.
Like I said before, I liked the All Japan Junior Tournament from the quality standpoint. I liked it better than the G1 so far. We'll see where the G1 goes after that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot up in the air. Yeah,
exactly. Traditionally, this is going to be the stretch where the G1 really delivers. We have only one show from Osaka, and they only have Kurikan one time, which is good, I think, because they usually had a stretch of 3 Kurikans in a row, which was kind of uninteresting. Only one Osaka date is also interesting. We'll see. The quality should be going up near to the end of the tournament.
I'm hopeful for that. There has been some good. I would say all the main events have delivered and recommendable. I think some of the undercard stuff has been mostly fine, but not special.
Yeah, I checked out some of the matches, not a lot of them. Just with like I said, with the Young Lions and the stories, I've picked up some of those matches.
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares about that either. Like I'm just saying, even below, like non-main event tournament matches, I think have mostly been solid. Overall, but nothing were, pretty much every Patreon show I say the main event delivered. Maybe there's another show, a match or two, that you can check out.
There's one that I'm circling from Hiroshima, from the undercard. That's Tanahashi and Katsuyama Murashima against Yodatsuji and Daiki Nagai.
Yeah, and the young lions are all good. Like every time I've seen them, they've all looked good. Nagai has been the one that stood out the most for me, but Murashima is very talented as well, and I think they all have a dreadful future under this current booking regime. But they will be good workers.
We could make a prediction who is going to turn to the House of Torture of this generation.
Well, it's nice that the guy got into a different faction. like early on. It's because I thought he was like for sure gonna turn heel.
Will Yasuda turn on Taichi to join the House of Torture?
Sure, why not?
Why not?
Like they don't have enough members.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Dylan. We've come to an end to this show. We've talked about Pro Wrestling now, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and New Japan Pro Wrestling very extensively. I was really happy that we got to do this show here on this fine Tuesday morning, German time. And of course, I failed to say it, but we were in your zone.
3 a.m. now. But I will say, real quick, lightning speed. I want to talk about the Stardom show since you watched it too.
So. I did.
Yeah, since you watched it.
Like, I don't really have a lot to add because it was also...
And that's why I'm going to do it now, because I don't want a full review on the Patreon. But I will review every show of the 5-star too on the Patreon. Not just the New Japan show.
It was a 3-minute match. Oh, no, a 4-minute match.
Exactly. So I'm going to breeze through this. My sister actually joined me to watch this inexplicably here, but she enjoyed herself seeing all these new people she had no clue.
I mean, sure, from a presentation standpoint, it wasn't too bad.
Exactly. I actually kind of liked the show. Like, in all honesty, it's just there was nothing to say about most of the.
Yes. There's no takeaway.
Yeah. So Tall Saya versus Lady C. Why was Saya in the opening match? It makes no sense. Why the world champion was at the start. Match was kind of clunky, actually, in my opinion. I think Lady C is kind of limited. Lots of big boots. They tried to build to a big spot with her hitting the choke slam. And the finish was good, but Cheyenne, my sister, notable work rate, passionate person, she criticized Kamatani for only hooking one leg on the finish, and she thought it would be more realistic if she did two. Yeah, okay. Exactly. That's exactly what I thought too. It wasn't bad, but nothing special. It was one of the longer matches on the under.
No, dissecting the opener. Come on.
Yeah, very, very. Yes, it's a romp. Damn it! Don't criticize it. We had Ami Sourei versus Aya Sakura. Sourei coming back after over a year of injury almost. A couple of weeks before this tournament. She's one of the people that we saw predicted-wise, including my co-host for our prediction show. Absolutely insane 5-star prediction show that myself and Sandre Bjorn did on the Patreon. One of the absolute one of the most unhinged episodes of audio that I can remember, as it is every single year we do this. Miyu Masaki and Yuri Hime, I thought that was a really good match for 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 42 seconds.
I will agree.
Like, Hime showed a lot of fire, and she was like the true rookie of the tournament. She was the last person to qualify. She bopped her with the Devil's Kiss. At one point, did not get to pop it gets in WWE with Stephanie Vaquero, but still, it looked vicious. She had a lot of fire. I liked what I saw between these two. Like, really good.
even though the match was below 3 minutes, it took some effort for Amazaki to put her away.
Yeah, they like I said, they fit a lot into it. This was a good match. Rina versus Ryan. Ryan very, very green along with Hime. I thought they did okay. This was probably one of the matches they could have chopped in half, to be honest. Yeah. They worked a lot around the Shinigami, which is like Rina's finishing move. She would somehow get Ryan up in like the Gory Bomb position, and she would escape somehow until she finally hit it. It wasn't that interesting, in my opinion. Dual Momo Watanabe versus Momo Kogo. I thought Kogo looked really good here. She was hitting all these cool moves. She hit the Tiger Fake Kick. She hit the Crucifix Driver. And then Momo just won. So, we had a lot of cool moves from Kogo. It didn't really amount to much. I always say Kogo is one of the more underrated on Stardom's roster. She has a great story, too, of overcoming her disease to become a wrestler that they don't capitalize on at all. Watanabe is going to be one of the main players. She got called out by Sari in the early going, so look forward to Watanabe doing a lot here. Nothing in this match. Meisei Red Waka. It was like really, they put a lot in this 28 seconds of Sarah running around. Yeah. They did like 10 moves in 30 seconds, but it just led to a flash pin.
See, the thing is,
I
know that they were going for the short match of the tournament, but when there are multiple matches that are below 3 minutes, this doesn't necessarily stand out in the way that they think it did.
No, it didn't stand out, but they needed to cut time. Well, that's with all.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm fine with that. We don't need more than 30 seconds. in my opinion. Suzu Suzuki and Hina, I like this a lot. This is one of the better matches on the show. And I thought they worked really well together. I really think Hina is among the most improved of any company. Like, I think that she should be up there as one of the more improved players. And Suzu is looking great right now, doing a lot of cool stuff. Even my sister was into this match. And so it was very good. I really recommend that match. For just 6 minutes, it felt like a full match. I do have to say. Hanako and Rana Yagami, it was pretty good. I thought they utilized... I'm really a big fan of Yagami's kicks. I thought they all sounded good. She had sharp stuff. But it was kind of like an exhibition match. Power versus striker. No real psychology or anything. This probably could have been a little bit shorter, but it wasn't bad either. And I like the finish with Hanako hitting the JP coaster that they called very excitedly on commentary. B and Yuna Mizumori, probably the most heated match of the build-up, with Yuna asking if she's a tropical bitch in her promo heading in there. And B proved that she is not tropical or a bitch here. I thought that it was good, but not really worth the time. Like, it was like B is just... She's got a long way to go, I would say, to meet the top standards of the push that she's probably going to get. I hope she can grow into it. But Mizumori is one of my favorites, and I don't think this match was that good overall. Azusa Inaba and Hanan, I didn't think this match was that good either. A lot was made of the finish with Rita tripping Hanan. I get it. You want the upset in the first night. That's fine. But they just didn't have that good chemistry for some reason, in my opinion. I like them both, though, as wrestlers. Bozilla Ruaka, you mentioned it. They had the wild brawl. It was actually like a really kind of cool match and heated match, and one of Ruaka's best I can remember, actually. And then they just decided to have this double count out, and I think that was kind of a flat finish. But
it looked really bad.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to not get into the ring, and you could see it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was a flat finish, and it's too bad because the first 7 minutes were like really good. I thought Bozilla's a star, man.
Bozilla had this awesome match with Azumi earlier.
That match was great. Yeah,
it was such a great match. But Dylan, you criticized Marigold heavily last year for the usage of Bozilla, and that they beat her too early. So very early in the Stardom run, they've beat Bozilla.
Yeah, and I thought that they were going to learn the lesson from that, from Marigold, but apparently not. Yeah. It's too bad. To me, she should be a top player in Marigold
coming out with that Vader homage to Arch Enemy.
Yeah,
she should really be just the monster defeating everybody, but she's not.
And when I booked it, I predicted her to go undefeated in the tournament and drop. Like, she was the one. She lost in the final match, and I think that's the way to use her. Yep. Like, win, and then put over who you want to push most, because then it'll mean something. But apparently Japanese bookers don't agree with Dylan's thinking. It's a shame, because she's awesome. She's a great talent. Ano and Ida, good match. I thought that this was where the show, this was kind of like the turning point of the show, where it's like, all right, now we're on the main matches. And that's why we saw a lot of the matches get more time. It was good, but I do think that they could have let Ida cook a little bit more here. It was kind of one-sided. And I did like that Ida's gimmick is apparently now it's like, look, maybe I won't get that much offense, but what offense I do get in will be chops. So I do respect that strategy. I thought it was a good match, but not as great as I think could have been. And we'll see how they do in the future.
Where do you think Ida fits in now that she lost the tag title?
Yeah, that's something we did the show before that match, and we had both predicted that Wing Gory would lose the titles. I think she's in a tough spot because that team was really to push Hanan more than her, and she got pushed via being her partner. But in her block, I mean, she's in the same block as Hime, Sakura, Amasaki, and Ruaka. So that gives you a good 7 or 8 points that she should be able to get. Tora and Azumi started off pretty cool with Azumi jumping Tora, kind of getting revenge for Tora always doing it to everyone else. But then it just turned into a hate match, and it wasn't worst match on the show.
Finish though with Tora just crushing her with the Azumi Sushi.
just kind of like cut back on the sushi, and
I
guess you're right. That was good. Props to Tora. Inaba and Starlight Kid, one of the best matches of the show. I like that they both did a double leg work match, and they actually sold it. Both players did. They had pretty good chemistry too, and I thought this would be a worthy. Like, if this was the best match of the show, I wouldn't be that unsatisfied with it. It was very good, and Inaba gets the upset win and probably sets up a white belt challenge in the future. But then the next match happened, and that was by far the best match of the show.
By far.
Yeah, like, this was the match you want to watch. Like, you could skip all the other 15 matches if you want. Really, these last two I thought were the ones that were standout. I would recommend both of those, and maybe Hina and Suzu. This match was great. Konami beating Sari. I mentioned it with Taichi. Somebody who wrestles like they want to win. Konami made this feel like the biggest win of her career. And in a lot of ways it was. But her win was so emotional and so satisfying, even though I totally disagree with it from a booking perspective. To have Sari lose on the first night, her whole heat was that she's superior and better than everyone in the company. And nothing. It's like they proved
nothing.
It's
the point that I made about Mozilla too. Why is she losing?
Yeah, this is even worse because like she was projected to be one of the top players, and she's a native talent. You still, why? Was this some kind of like Heyman booking where you're like, the outsider comes in, they must lose automatically?
I guess so.
What was the thinking here? Right? And Konami, bless her. It's great that she got this point. At one point, she was one of the top prospects, but this is not who I would have put in this position, in all honesty. That said, this match was great, and I really recommend it to everybody. I think any kind of fan would like this match. It was very easy to understand. Like, it's great for Konami because she got to wrestle as a babyface again. Even though hate are always heels, and I think her and Watanabe both are like the queens of like just dogging it. Like, they don't want to put in effort anymore. But here we got to see her face somebody who the fans hate for real in Sari, thanks to her tremendous character work. And she delivered big. Like, it was like the old days with her. And Sari is just otherworldly level talent. If she doesn't win the Tanahashi trophy this year, that's going to be crazy. I think, to me, something will have had to have happened in the last 6 months to change that, because she is just a completely different level than most wrestlers. And it was a fantastic match. Main event, Poi and Sayaka Kurara. I liked on paper putting in this main event, but it was only fine. Definitely a come down from the semi-main.
Yeah.
And I thought they worked hard to get the fans back, and they kind of did at the end. And I liked the idea of it again, but it just wasn't as good as the other two matches.
You could see that Sayaka Kurara was really nervous in this match. She one time she slipped from the rope as well, and Natsupoi had to save it for her. A couple of other situations in the match where she didn't look as sharp as they wanted her to look. So I don't think she was ready for the position she was put in.
And it's a shame because it doesn't really make sense when you think about it, because she had a title match versus Kamatani and looked ready. Like she delivered in that match. But for some reason against Poi, it just didn't work as well. I still think it came together kind of at the end, but it wasn't anything special. Poi was my pick to win the tournament in the predictions, by the way. So I think that she will get a rematch from her loss right before the tournament, which was a fantastic match. I would highly recommend, by the way. Natsupoi versus Kamatani. Watch both of the matches from that show. Poi and Kamatani and Aono versus Kid, the Starlight Kid. Both of those were great, and like the titles are in great hands. We'll see what this insane tournament brings us, because like we talked about before the show, not every show will be like this, where everybody wrestles. Cut it in half and it'll be 8 matches per show. I still expect a lot of matches to be short, actually. Like it's. I think it sounds more daunting than it will be, because if you look at this field, a lot of these people are extreme rookies and very green. They're not going to put these guys or these girls out for more than 5 minutes a lot of the times. So I think they're going to speed run through a lot of this. and maybe have some big matches at the end. Hopefully it works out well. Like I said, I actually enjoyed the first show, but it's kind of tough to keep up with all the tournaments going on at the moment.
It was a drag to get through the first 8 matches, I want to say, because when you have a show it was about 3.5 hours long, and when you know that you have a show like that and you have like 8 matches, some of them are tags and some of them are singles, okay, yeah, I'm getting this undercard, and then we are getting the 4 main matches that are getting enough time. That's fine. But when you're watching a 3.5 hour show and you're only at match 6 out of 16, that psychologically does something with your head, because you're trained in the way that a pro wrestling show usually has between like 5 to 10 matches at max.
Yeah. Good point. And I'm glad that they're cutting it off, obviously. Yeah. And I wonder if they'll think about. I expect them to shorten the field next year. I think they're doing this to get a lot of these green people experience. And like that, we don't want you missing 2 months of action. So we're just going to put you in the tournament. We'll see if it does anything. But I wanted to talk about it briefly because you did watch the show.
I did, yes.
Okay.
All right. So then, exactly. Let's end the show. I hope you made it through to the end, because we talked about a bunch of stuff here on this show and brought Stardom in as well. So I want to thank all of you for listening. This has been the Eastern Lariat. Goodbye.
Sayonara.